Second and 13.
And welcome to the Sound Live Sports Network. You are joining us in progress here from Edmonds Stadium, where the Mountlake Terrace Hawks and the Lynnwood Royals are doing battle as we speak. You're joining us in progress for this game. We've had approximately, I guess it's 6 plays now, Vince DeMiro. Lynnwood just picking up their second first down of the game. This is the first possession of the game as Lynnwood won the toss and elected to receive. 9:37 to go here in the first quarter of play. Again, Lynnwood with the first possession of the ball game. 1st and 10 on the Mountlake Terrace 39-yard line. Cachopo, the quarterback for Lynnwood, back to pass. Completes it to Katzenberger. He's got some room to run and is finally tackled along the right sideline after a gain of 13 yards down to the 26-yard line, and Lynnwood picks up their third first down of this game.
Well, I think Lynnwood has figured it out pretty early here that it's going to be almost impossible to run against the Hawks' front four and, quite honestly, the linebacking core, but the Hawks are very, very susceptible to the pass. 2 19-plus yard pass plays, and then that screen just went for 13.
Katzenberger's going to try up the middle again, and as you just said, Vince DeMiro, not a lot of room up that middle. That's Katzenberger's 4th run, I believe, now of this game, and he's yet to pick up more than 2 or maybe 3 yards on a single carry, and yet the passing game seems to be working so far.
Well, again, it's really clear that the Hawks have good athletes up on the front line who know how to play their position and are just very stingy. But we're pretty young in the defensive backfield, and that starts to show, and teams are going to pick up on that.
So again, Justin Cachopo is the quarterback. Cachopo, wearing number 11, is a junior, 6'1", 175 pounds, is not asked to throw a lot in this offense. But again, sometimes you don't necessarily play to your strengths. You try to play to the defense's weaknesses.
Absolutely, you do.
I think we're going to see Lynnwood throwing more than they're normally accustomed to tonight. Having said that, Katzenberger running right off of right tackle, lunges forward for maybe a gain of 4, let's call it 5 yards. That will bring up a 3rd and 3 on the Mountlake Terrace 20.
Yeah, unfortunately on that play, well, I guess fortunately for the Hawks, unfortunately for the Royals, Andy Klossy had to leave for a little injury, not an injury, but an equipment problem, and came back on. It's a good thing they didn't try to throw to his direction because we had even a younger kid back there.
So 3rd and 3 coming up here. A pitch as they run it off of the right wing this time. That is the wide receiver, number 24, David Wynn, trying to sweep it out to the left. To no avail for Lynnwood.
Well, that's a curious call there, isn't it?
Hawks just picking up on that one right away, and you're right. They were having a lot of success doing those quick little outs. You would have thought maybe that would be the call there. Not the case, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 3. No man's land, I guess, and Lynnwood's going to go for it here with 7:48 to go in the first quarter. Cachopo handing off to Kirkman, the big fullback. He's trying to lunge up the middle. It's going to be close as the referees are right in between the 18 and 19-yard line. The eye test here, it looks like Terrace stopped them, but let's wait and see.
Yeah, I think they did. Wow, that's huge.
Huge play for Lynnwood as that was I believe it was their 10th play of that drive. Ate up a little more than 4.5 minutes of that clock, or just a little under 4.5 minutes, I should say. And the Mountlake Terrace Hawks, who were struggling there a bit on that first possession, end up holding when they needed to. And there's a familiar face, Justin Hopkins, number 7, back at quarterback. The very first play from the offensive side of the ball for the Hawks. A run off of left tackle by Chance Ragsdale. Number 3 gets forward for a gain of about 5 yards, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and 5.
It's good to see Justin back in there. I tell you, 2 weeks ago when he went down in that first series, the young man came back with enormous courage and obviously wanting to be a leader on this team, but boy, it hurt to watch him out there.
Yeah, still nursing that ankle injury there as he hands off again to Chance Ragsdale. Ragsdale leaping over one player.
Might have dropped it.
Might have fumbled the ball there, and the Lynnwood players think that they have it. We await the signal from the referee.
It's Terrace ball.
We're going to say Terrace ball. Apparently it was fumbled and recovered by the Hawks. And unfortunately for Lynnwood, we do have an injured player down, laying face down on the turf as we wait to see how he's doing here.
That's the second Royal that's gone down already in this game. I didn't quite pick up the number on the young man in the first series that the Royals had on offense, but I mean, you never like to see that, but it's part of the game, obviously.
It's part of the game, and it's something that the Mountlake Terrace Hawks fans are getting to know all too well this year. It's been well documented. Devontae Downs, possibly the #1 player in the state of Washington, already down with a torn ACL this year, and a few other players. Hey, with 6:54 to go here in the first quarter and no score, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
This Sound Live Sports Network pregame show is presented by Dewar, Meeks, and Eckram CPAs, conveniently located in downtown Edmonds and Marysville for all of your individual and business year-end tax planning and preparation needs. Call Mike today for a free 30-minute consult or visit them online at dmecpa.com.
And we are back at Edmonds Stadium, where, again, you are watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Steve Willits, along with Vince DeMiro, as the Mountlake Terrace Hawks and the Lynnwood Royals are doing battle in a game between two Edmonds School District opponents. Just coming back from commercial there, we tried to run the first play of coming back there, offsides on Lynnwood, giving Mountlake Terrace an automatic first down. Justin Hopkins going to take off running. We don't necessarily want to see that, knowing that that ankle is not 100% yet. However, he's able to lunge forward for a, we'll call it a no gain, but more importantly for the Hawks, Justin up and looking okay there, looking like he's as healthy as he's going to be, I should say. I wasn't going to say healthy, knowing again that he is still nursing that ankle. But again, it's always good when we see Justin get up after getting hit. And quite frankly, Vince, maybe a good test for him early just to see if he could take a hit there.
Absolutely. Sometimes that first hit's important.
2nd and 10. This time Ragsdale off of left tackle. He's still pushing the pile. Finally tackled at the 37-yard line after a gain of 6.
And on that previous play where on first down where Hopkins was looking to throw, he did have two guys out on the right flat, but just didn't feel comfortable pushing the ball in there. There was some traffic. He made the smart decision just to pull it down and see if he could at least go back to the line to gain or line of scrimmage. And Clossy looks, and Ragsdale, looks really good so far tonight with that pickup of 6.
Yeah, Ryan Lacoste now playing in the backfield with Hopkins. 3rd and 4 coming up on the 37. That is not Hopkins. That is actually number 15, Austin Bates, with a wildcat move. And Austin Bates is still pushing the pile.
That's a first down for Bates. That's beautiful.
First down. They needed 4, and he picks up 6. Austin Bates with his first carry of the year. The normally tight end Austin Bates playing a little wildcat quarterback there, and that looks good.
Absolutely, and the Hawks are going to have to do some different things like that to keep the defenses sort of off balance because, when Hopkins is in there, he's big. He's probably not quite as fleet as foot as some of the other guys in the backfield, and he's more of a threat to hand off and to pass the ball. But when you see Bates come in there, who knows what's going to happen?
So once again, it's Bates one more time. They figured it worked the first time. Let's go to it again. Picks up another 3 yards. Austin Bates showing a little strength there. The junior, 6'2", 220. He's able to push himself forward there a little bit and pick up some yardage.
6'2", 220 coming at you, and with a head of steam. That's something to have to reckon with.
And Bates is having himself one heck of a year, not only at tight end, but at linebacker as well. And he's back at his tight end spot now as Justin Hopkins takes the snap, handing off right up the middle. No, I take that back.
Wow.
And this is Ryan Lacoste. Lacoste has room. Lacoste has end zone. Touchdown, Terrace.
57-yard run. Check that, 49-yard run or 54-yard run. I'll get the numbers straight here. But wow, was that well crafted by Hopkins with that? You fooled me, fooled you, fooled everybody else. Obviously fooled the Lynnwood defense. That initial inside handoff pulled it back. That's what that option allows you to do, and Lacoste certainly turned it on.
When you can fool the announcers, you've done something right, and certainly we were fooled. Looking right at Ragsdale going up the middle there, and Lacoste just came around that wing coming off of tackle, and he had nothing but open room. And when you get Ryan Lacoste some space, he's going to take advantage of it. Jensen on for the extra point. It's up. It is good. And with 4:32 to go here in the first quarter, we're going to take a quick break. Your score, Mountlake Terrace 7, Lynnwood 0. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
If you're hungry before or after the game, visit Sorelli Pizza, located at 44th and 224th in Mountlake Terrace. Enjoy the best pizza in Snohomish County while watching your favorite sports on the 4 50-inch plasma TVs. Dine in or take out. They're open Tuesday through Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Call them at 425-670-8600 or visit them online at SorelliPizza.com.
And we are back once again at Edmund Stadium. You're still watching the Sound Live Sports Network. One possession for each team, one touchdown for the Mountlake Terrace Hawks, a 54-yard run by Ryan Lacoste, his first carry of the ball game. 7-play drive for the Hawks, 75 yards total. Lynnwood, with the first possession of the game, had a 10-play drive come up short on a 4th and short at the Hawks' 20-yard line. And now they're about to take possession for the second time, and that is a touchback. Just to get you caught up on a couple quick stats, Ryan Lacoste, 1 carry for 55 yards. Chance Ragsdale, 2 carries for 12. And Austin Bates, I like that move, 2 carries for 8 yards.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was an impressive drive from the Hawks. It was helped out by the offsides call on the Royals early on in that drive that gave the Hawks a first down. But other than that, very methodical. There was the one play for no gain, but boy, you got to like what you see so far from Mountlake Terrace tonight. Lynnwood on their second possession.
And here we go. Once again, Cachopo, Justin Cachopo that is, handing off to Katzenberger. You're going to see that a lot tonight. So far, so good for the Hawks. 4-yard carry for Katzenberger, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and 6 for the Royals.
And this, might be part of their playbook. A lot of teams script out their first several series, or first 2 series at least, and this might just be part of their playbook to kind of test and see where the weaknesses are on the Hawks' defense.
Cachopo's going to hand it off one more time to Katzenberger, maybe a yard, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 5. Vince, I was watching some video from the Lynnwood game last week against Shorewood, a game that Lynnwood came up a bit short, 20-14. 3rd play of the game, Lynnwood had the ball in excellent position. They had a pick, an interception right off the bat. Only had to go 15 yards. 3rd play of the game, Cachopo hit Wynn for a nice 15-yard out pattern for a touchdown. And I was expecting to see a lot of passing after that. Yep. Maybe 12 of their next 13 plays were running plays. Wow. And even at that, they didn't go very far. This team wants to run, and they're going to try to establish that. Not there, they're not. Handoff, and Brett Potter, along with Caleb Davis, making the stop. Brett Potter, who up until the game tonight, up until game time, wasn't even expected to play.
Right.
And he's out there making some big defensive stops right now.
Yeah, I guess we could pass a note down here, a couple booths down to the Lynnwood coaches, and just tell them that running off tackle may not be the answer tonight.
No, Potter came into this ball game with 21 tackles on the year. The next most tackles on the Hawks defense, 9. He is a big part of what they do defensively, and he's shown it so far tonight. On to punt for the first time tonight for Lynnwood. That's number 57. Going to be fielded there, taken by number 24. That's Walgren. And he finally is put down at the 46-yard line. Excellent field position for the Hawks. We do have a late penalty flag.
And that's the 46 of Lynnwood. I mean, that's huge. See what the flag is here.
Should mention that was Ezekiel King at number 57 punting. We do get a illegal block penalty called against the Hawks. That will push them onto the other side of the 50-yard line. However, still not a bad place to start.
Right. It's good to see Zeke King out there punting. He's a young man that I've seen grow up here in the community and watch him play baseball. His mom and dad are huge supporters of youth sports in the community, and it's he and his brother are pretty good athletes over there at Lynnwood High School. It's really cool to see him out here punting.
I got to tell you, Vince, every time I do a game with you, it seems like you know a few of the other players on the other team.
A couple, 2, 3, yeah.
You've coached a little bit in your time, haven't you?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's part of being part of a good community like we have here.
A great community, and we might talk about that a little bit as we go along here too. The Hawks with the ball on their own 45-yard line, 2:45 to go here in the first quarter, and a 7-0 lead as we get an immediate penalty flag thrown on this play. Ball was not whistled dead, and Ragsdale is tackled after a 3-yard gain.
That's usually a good sign for the offense, but who knows? A little different in the high school game than in the college game, and I can see that the referees are... Oh, I was wrong. I guess an illegal motion, so why wasn't that blown dead there?
Good question. I was kind of wondering the same thing, but and like you, I predicted a defensive penalty just because of the fact that the play ran.
Well, I thought maybe it was, in high school you can't go across that line, cross the scrimmage line and then come back. It's offsides no matter what you do once they've established that there are no more substitutions.
And we now have a 1st and 15 on their own 40-yard line for the Hawks. 2:32 to go here in the first quarter. Throw out to Classie. He's got a little room on the right side. Tries to elude one tackler and is finally tackled at the 44-yard line. A gain of 16 and a Hawks first down.
That's a nice little wrinkle in the offense. And if you can get Classie out in space, that's a big difference for him. Sure, he'll bang it up in there too, but young man's got pretty good speed, and it's nice to see a little difference in terms of play selection here. Give Lynnwood lots to think about.
And Richard Truon making the tackle, their number 25. Nice open tackle. If Classie gets by him, he's only got one more man to beat. Might still be running. So here we go, 1st and 10 on the Lynnwood 45. Handoff to Ragsdale. Gets tripped up on that play by number 58, Joe McKay. And if McKay doesn't get a hand on Ragsdale there, he still might be running.
McKay did a nice job, even though he was well blocked. In fact, he was kind of face planted down on the turf. He reached up and grabbed what he could there, and boy, a 1-yard gain is a lot better than what it could be.
Yeah, McKay, a 6'1", 242-pound junior. Quite a few juniors on this Lynnwood team here. They are an up-and-coming team, and so far giving the Hawks a little bit of a scare. We'll see how this goes. Classie with a double handoff. Cutting that one up the middle, a little bit out to the left, is finally tackled at the 39-yard line. That's going to bring up a very interesting 3rd and 5 for the Hawks here.
Yep.
Probably 4-down territory.
I would think so. Given the Hawks' success defensively so far, why not? But you gotta make it, doable here. You got to either get close to the yard line to gain, or do something here to maybe draw Lynnwood offsides or something.
And so far we've only seen one pass out of Hopkins. Let's see if this is the second one of the game. Classie in motion, going from right to left. Pitch to Ragsdale. He's sweeping out to the left, finds a little bit of space, tries to fight forward. However, he's going to be tackled about 1.5 yards short, which will bring up a very interesting 4th down.
Yeah, I think that is, it's a very long yard, or a short 2 yards, I guess. 4th down, and I do think you go for it here. What's the decision?
Well, you're not going to kick a 53-yard field goal, and the punt really doesn't do much, so they're definitely going for it. And look at this. Austin Bates,
of course,
back in there again. Let's see if he takes it right up the middle. No, a fake to Bates, and Lynnwood not having any of it. A loss of 4 yards. That was Ryan Lacoste. Direct snap to him. He's immediately tackled by 2 or 3 players. And that will be a turnover of possession. And Lynnwood taking over on their own 40-yard line with 25 seconds to go here in the first quarter. If you're just joining us, Mountlake Terrace with a 7-0 lead on a 54-yard touchdown run by Ryan Lacoste here in the first quarter. And now Lynnwood looking at their 3rd possession of the ball game here, getting their best field position of the game to start a drive, and down goes the quarterback. Cachopo being tackled by Pollinger, along with maybe 1 or 2 other players, but Pollinger was the main one we were able to get our eyes on. And a nice play by him, a loss of 4. And as we watch the clock tick down, that should be the very last play of the quarter, and it is. So again, your score after 1 quarter of play, Mountlake Terrace 7, Lynnwood 0. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And we are back here at Edmund Stadium, heading into the second quarter of play. Your score, Mountlake Terrace 7, Lynnwood 0. Vince DeMiro, a very interesting game here so far. Both teams showing that they can get a little bit going on offense. Both teams seem to kind of stub their toes once they get into to the other team's territory.
Had it not been for that big play for the Hawks, you're right. And this has been fairly even there in the trenches, but Hawks with the big play.
Cachopo drops back to pass, throws a screen pass to Katzenberger. He's got a little bit of room and finally lunges forward to the 45 after a gain of 5 yards.
Nice little 9-yard screen play there after the loss of 4. So that brings up 3rd and 5. And, you know, the Royals, that's a smart move. Take advantage of the Hawks' very aggressive defense and wanting to come in there and put some pressure, especially after you've just given up a sack.
And they certainly like to get the hands in Katzenberger's, the ball in Katzenberger's hands, rather. It's a screen play that they've thrown quite a bit this year, and we'll see it again before this game is over. Throw is into the flat there on the left-hand side, complete to number 44. That's Lucas Youngman, the tight end, 6'1", 210 junior. And he's going to be just a bit short of a first down here.
I think they're giving it to him.
And now they finally move the change. You're right. I kept waiting to see if they were going to make that hand signal, and they finally did. First down for Lynnwood on the 50.
Well, the Royals now have passed 2 times in a row, so maybe they're starting to wake up to the fact that that might be where they find the most success tonight.
And short passes at that. Let's see if they've got a long one in here eventually. Cachopo throwing for the 3rd time in a row. Over the middle, intercepted by the Hawks. Ryan Lacoste making the pick, the safety, number 22. He's finally tackled after about a 2-yard return on his own 44-yard line. Just what the Hawks needed.
That's just a really smart play back there by Lacoste, and not a very smart play by the quarterback for Lynnwood, because there was a lot of traffic where he was throwing that ball. There's no sense in trying to force things here at this point. And he was looking over the middle of the field the entire time, never looked off that receiver. And he did have 2 guys out here on the right, and they were in single coverage.
And Vince, the thing that the Hawks have struggled with so much this year on defense is the secondary. Good to see Lacoste step up and get an interception there.
Absolutely.
Hopkins looking over to his left, throws it to Clossie out in the flat. Is able to get forward for maybe a gain of a yard, and that will bring up a 2nd and 9 for the Hawks. Clossie showing that he's got some running ability. He's had a few nice plays this year, including a sweep for a touchdown against Stanwood, and Hawks are definitely trying to get him the ball in space here so far. The 2nd time we've seen that today. And again, he's shown that he can break it if he gets into the open there.
Yep.
Stay tuned for that. 2nd and 9 here, 10:28 to go in the second quarter. Hawks 7, Royals 0. Number 7, Justin Hopkins, behind center again, takes the snap. Ragsdale trying to find some room, nothing doing. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and that will bring up a 3rd and 9.
Yeah, I think that the Royals are starting to key off of Hopkins a little bit here. I think some more of the misdirection might help out when they go to that run game. And I like what they did that last series with that little double handoff move. Boy, that, unless you're really cued into what's happening, that can really get some good yards for the offense if you're not watching defensively.
So 3rd and 9 here for the Hawks. Hopkins looking to throw, and he's throwing it deep. Ball is complete. Jonathan Williams, number 14, catching the ball for a 20-yard gain right as he was going out of bounds. Great pitch and catch by Hopkins and Williams, the 2 quarterbacks, if you will, after Williams playing quarterback in relief of Hopkins, who was injured last week, and Jay Will making his presence felt there right off the bat. And that's his first catch of the year, too. So
that's good for him, yeah.
Welcome to the show there on the catching side of things, Jonathan Williams. We've seen you throw it a few times, and now we've seen you catch it. Hawks ball on the 39-yard line. Should say that was a gain of 17 yards on that play, and on the very next play, Ragsdale tackled right at the line of scrimmage. They might be giving him a yard on the spot there. 2nd and 9 for the Hawks on the Royals' 38-yard line.
Yeah, that pitch to the outside, that's fine, but there's just no blocking over there. So I'm not sure exactly what the scheme is on the ball side of those plays, but it certainly isn't working right now on the pitch. So that'll be an adjustment that the Hawks have to make at halftime.
And again, we're going to call it 2nd and 10 still for the Hawks. They are in Lynnwood territory. Let's see what they can do. Hand off to Ragsdale. No. Hand off to Klossy. Even had the referee
blowing a whistle.
The referee blew the whistle when Ragsdale was tackled. Problem is, Ragsdale didn't have the ball. Klossy had the ball.
Yeah. Boy, that is really unusual, isn't it?
And I guess they're going to just let that one go and give Klossy all the yards as he was tackled on the 31-yard line for a gain of 8. And the Lynnwood coach, I think Bankhead, one of the two head coaches or co-coaches for Lynnwood, he's not really happy, and I get it. Whistle's blown. A lot of his players might have pulled up thinking that the play was dead, and now he's getting an explanation from the referee.
What in the world? No, sorry.
So 3 on watch, so both teams 3?
There's no way.
They're
going to place the ball there,
we're gonna play it over again. Is what we're going to do. Whistle again, and I get that. If you're going to blow the whistle, and players are going to stop playing, again, it's unfortunate for the Hawks, but at the same time, whistle is blown. That does.
Jeez,
here's
an idea. Don't blow the whistle until the play's over. Holy smokes!
That says a lot for the Hawks offense there on this wing tee. You
got to know that as a referee that's part of their game.
Absolutely. 2nd and 10 once again. Hopkins going to throw this time out in the flat there. There's Ragsdale. Puts a move on one player. He's got some room. He's got a lot of room. Ragsdale running down the sideline, and he's finally run out of bounds. Or what are we going to get here, folks?
Yeah, there's a push in the back, unfortunately, but it's after the catch was made.
So Ragsdale is tackled on the 1-yard line. However, like you mentioned, Vince, a flag down on the 36-yard line, which will bring that ball back.
I'm not quite sure how the young man knocks the pylon down but doesn't get the touchdown out of it. But needless to say, there was a block in the back, and it was one of those deals where the defender turned around right in front of where the Hawks receiver was blocking. So it's tough to blame the young man on that one. And I didn't quite see who that was, but it was one of the Hawks receivers. And by the way, that's a horrible spot. If that's where they think the penalty was, it wasn't. It was another 5 yards down the field.
And they're going to walk that to the 47-yard line. We will once again have 2nd down, and this time 18 yards to go for a first down.
Well, we've had a do-over, and we've had a penalty on 2nd down. We just can't get this.
We can't get past 2nd down right now.
Unbelievable.
I'd settle
2nd and 18.
I'd settle for first right now. Let's see what we can get here. 2nd and 18 for the Hawks from the Lynnwood Royal 47-yard line. Hopkins takes the snap, looks downfield. They're going to set up a screen pass. Intercepted as he overthrew Bates. Guess who? Big number 3, Andrew Katzenberger.
Yep.
We've seen him with the ball plenty today on the offensive side. Now he's doing it on the defense. Easy interception for him, and that is Hopkins' 4th interception of the year. And Lynnwood will take over possession on their own 47 here with 8:11 to go in the second quarter.
That's too bad. That's really too bad. Because that was set up pretty nicely, really.
Yeah, it's just what you wanted to see out of the screenplay. You let the defense in. You set up your offensive line. You've got a wall. Unfortunately, the ball was just a little overthrown. Cachopo rolling out to his left, gets hit as he throws. However, he completes the ball. Truan fumbles it. However, fortunately for Truan, David Wynn, his other receiver, there to fall on it. Lynnwood could have easily turned the ball right back over to the Hawks. However,
I want to know how that's a completed pass if the ball just came out that quickly.
He ran with it for a couple steps before he was hit. Yeah, okay. So we'll give him that one.
I just thought I saw him juggling it, so maybe that was just me. Although there is a little discussion going on over there.
I think the discussion's probably more in terms of where to spot the ball at with the play coming down there.
Yep, they're going to give it to him.
Good call by the referees. Again, I think that was a completion and then a fumble after the play, or near the end of the play. And again, very wise move by number 24, David Wynn, and that's why you teach these players to never give up on a play.
Yep.
And Lynnwood now, once again, into Mountlake Terrace Hawks territory for, I believe, the 4th time tonight already, have yet to score here, and they're looking to maybe tie this game up down 7-0. Katzenberger with a very nice spin move right there gets ahead to the 31-yard line for a gain of 3.
Katzenberger obviously is their workhorse. They feel very comfortable with him and having the ball. Officials timeout here for some reason. I'm not sure why.
And again, we're looking at 7:39 to go here in the second quarter. Might have been a little bit of an injury as number 74 for Lynnwood. It's Isaiah Holmes, the left tackle, running off holding his arm a little bit there.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's anything too serious, but he is not quite ready to play, and so he does run off the field. And the ball has been spotted once again, and we are just about ready to go here. Again, Lynnwood trailing the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 7-0. Clock is running, 7:34 to go here in the second quarter, and Lynnwood with the ball on the Terrace 31-yard line. Cachopo rolls out to his right. He's looking downfield, complete to the tight end. That's Youngman again. Finally tackled by Jonathan Williams, but not until he gains 11 yards and picks up another Royals first down.
Excellent play call and good execution by the Royals. And the quarterback extending that play by getting out of the pocket, finding his man, and the Hawks are going to have to find a way to stop the pass play. And the Royals have definitely woken up to the fact that the pass is how they're going to be able to move the ball tonight.
And they're passing it in every which way possible, over the middle, screens, downfield. And that's going to maybe open it up for Katzenberger, and he's going to try it right off the bat. Once again, though, the Hawks playing very stout defense there up the middle, holding Katzenberger to a 2-yard gain, and that will bring up a 2nd and 8.
Brett Potter in on just about every play that's a running play at least. That guy's showing you something tonight. A little dinged up coming into this one. And something tells me that he's one of those kids that on game day and get a little adrenaline going, the owies go away, and he wants to be out here.
He's amazing. I talked to Coach Umayam earlier today via email, said he was doubtful.
Yeah.
Talked to Brett's mom before the game and his stepdad. They were saying it might depend on where the game is and if they need him or not, but he'd prefer to sit, and he hasn't even come close to sitting yet. He's playing on every play, and he's playing hard. Katzenberger trying to find room on the left-hand side, doesn't find anything, and what they do find are 2 yellow flags, which are probably going against Lynnwood.
Looked like a hold there on the left side of the line, and that's exactly what it is. And the Hawks, I think, would be in a good position to take this penalty and push the Royals back 10 yards from that spot. That would be a pretty big penalty because you added 10 plus the 4 from the line of scrimmage there, so that kind of turns out to be a 14-yard penalty.
Yeah. Do you want 3rd and 10, or do you want 2nd and possibly 18? It looks like
it would be like 3rd and 12, wouldn't it, or 3rd and 11 anyway? But yeah,
and they're going to take the penalties.
Take the penalty,
which will be a nice test for the Terrace defense. Sure. As again, we've already seen that Lynnwood has been able to throw on them. They get 2 plays to try it, maybe 3 actually, if they want to go for it on 4th down here, depending on how well they're able to do on these first 2 plays. But again, it is we're going to call that a 2nd and 23. Lynnwood from the Mountlake Terrace 33-yard line, 6:09 to go here in the second quarter. Terrace still holding on to the 7-0 lead. Cachopo under center this time. He's got Kirkman playing fullback. New running back in there, however, he's going to throw it. Cachopo looking downfield. Intercepted by Jonathan Williams. No, I don't know about that.
Oh, my.
Jonathan Williams, who looked to have 1 foot in and the other foot in the air.
Right?
And the referee's going to say, no, he was out of bounds. I'll tell you what, if we had replay in this league, which we don't, I think Jay Will would have a pick there.
I think that it would be, would that have been, let's see, his second reception, but that one would have been for a pick. But I sure thought he had his left foot down initially. And then the right foot went out of bounds. I thought the young man made a great athletic play there.
At any rate, incomplete. 3rd and 23 still for the Hawks here. If we can hold him for 2 more plays, it won't matter, but it would have been nice for his stats. Cachopo dropping back, looking deep. He's finally getting pressure. Caleb Davis giving chase. Cachopo finally going to run out of bounds on the 20. Let's see what they're calling it here. So we're waiting for the spot there as the ref walks back to around the 27-yard line for a gain of 6. And that's going to bring up a 4th and 17 for the Royals.
Yeah, again, this is in that no man's land. You pretty much have to go for it. There's no sense at all in punting here because you're likely going to get a net gain of about 7 yards out of the deal if it goes into the end zone. And it's pretty far for a field goal at this age level anyway.
There are kickers in this league that can make it, but it's an awfully tough field. That's a 44-yarder right there, and it's not one you see very often at the high school level.
No.
We're playing Glacier Peak next week, by the way. Glacier Peak had a kid kick a 52-yarder 2 weeks ago.
Yep. That's legit.
But again, that's not the norm here in high school, and consequently, Cachopo's back under center, 4th and 17. And I believe we're going to get a Lynnwood timeout. So we do have a Lynnwood timeout. When we return, 5:45 here to go in the second quarter. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Your score, Mountlake Terrace 7, Lynnwood 0.
Where will you be after high school? Shoreline Community College offers training for rewarding careers in automotive repair, dental hygiene, early childhood education, biotechnology, and much, much more. Or you can earn an associate's degree and be ready to transfer to a four-year college. To learn more, visit shoreline.edu today. Steve, big play here. We're a little past the midway point of the second quarter, but fourth down here for the Royals at the Hawks' 27-yard line.
And this has been the Achilles for the Hawks all season long. Third and longs usually, fourth and long as well here. Hawks are very susceptible to giving up the long pass. Let's see what they can dial up here on defense. 4th and 17, Cachopo drops back. He's getting pressured. He goes down, fumble. Not that it matters. The Hawks are going to get the ball either way. However, they do recover it. That's Toby Munnis, number 42. A loss of 8, and the Mountlake Terrace Hawks will take possession at their own 35-yard line.
Yeah, that sack doesn't matter in terms of downs, but that's a +8 now. The offense can start at the 35 instead of down at the 27. That could make a difference here. I mean, it certainly gives you a little bit more breathing room behind you. Offensively now that it kind of opens up the field a little bit. And you might start off here with a pass rather than a run. I mean, that was huge. And I think it was a wise call on the part of the Hawks to put some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, there was definitely a blitz called there, and 2 or 3 guys got through. Nice play. Hopkins rolling out. He's looking deep. Eludes one tackler. He's going to finally take off running, get some yards as he plunges forward to the 39-yard line, a gain of 4. Scary play there for Hopkins, and unfortunately we have a Lynnwood Royal player down. That's number 65 for the Royals, Craig Nocky, the defensive lineman who's holding his knee on the play.
That's too bad. That's like the third Royal we've seen go down here in this game. And you just never like to see anybody get injured. I don't care what level. This game is brutal enough. You just don't want to see any of these young men injured.
You know, Vincent, I'm trying to do a quick head count here as we're awaiting the injury here. Royals appear to have about 30 players suited up today. I know that they have not been fielding a JV team as of late.
Right.
And Mountlake Terrace, with all of their injuries, actually canceled their JV game this coming Monday. Both teams, neither of which have a lot of numbers. Yeah, you hate to see injuries in general because obviously these young men work hard to get where they're at. And for some of them, this is, you might only have a senior year. But in this case, yeah, neither team can afford to lose players, and Lynnwood's lost a few tonight. And we're going to take a quick timeout here. 5:26 to go in the second quarter. Hawks 7, Royals 0.
The Sound Live Sports Network is brought to you by Harris Ford Lincoln, celebrating 60 years in business in a newly remodeled facility. Harris Ford Lincoln is the largest volume Ford dealer in Washington State and was voted the best in Western Washington by King 5 Evening Magazine. Harris Ford Lincoln, located at 20006 64th Avenue West in Lynnwood. You can visit them online at harrisford.com.
And we are back at Edmond Stadium. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Some good news here is Craig Nocky, number 65, able to walk off on his own. Walking off very gingerly on that leg. However, he is able to walk off. Always a good sign, Vince.
Yeah, absolutely. Hawks in 2nd and 5 territory here. Now what we got?
Or is it 2nd and 50 according to the scoreboard? Or 2nd and... Yeah, they've got 2nd and 50 up there. I'm hoping that's not the case.
A little equipment issue, I guess. Is that Munnis?
Munnis is heading off, and equipment issue on that end. We've got a scoreboard issue. They're going to let that one go, and we do know for a fact it's 2nd and 5, though. And here comes Brett Potter again to step back in there. And I cannot say enough for Brett Potter right now. He's been making a ton of tackles. Don't have his official numbers yet. And, oh, by the way, is that Brett Potter lined up in the backfield?
I think it might be.
I've never seen this before. And he gets a carry, too, at that, and he's going to try to fight his way forward. Very interesting call for a guy who's fighting a knee injury. They're going to go with a handoff there, and Brett Potter just tougher than nails as he gets hit by about 5 guys. Helmet comes off, and he still pops up.
No gain there, but well, maybe let's give him 6 inches or so, because my goodness, that's the hardest 6 inches I've seen anybody earn.
I'm going to give him 6 inches and a standing ovation. That is something else. Brett Potter. Did not know we had that one in the playbook.
I don't know if he knew that we had that one in the playbook.
No kidding. Mike Yelowicki, the offensive coordinator, and Tony Amayam surprising us all on that play. Clock continues to run here, and as I say that, the Hawks are going to call a timeout.
Yeah.
So with 4:44 to go here in the first half of play, we're going to take a break. The Mountlake Terrace Hawks 7, the Lynnwood Royals 0.
Go the distance for Hungry Minds on October 5th at Alderwood Mall and a 5K fundraiser for students in the Edmonds Public School District. Visit edmondspsf.org/5K. That's edmondspsf.org/5K for more information. The Sound Live Sports Network is presented by the My Neighborhood News Network, South Snohomish County's online gathering place. Visit My Edmonds News, MLT News, and LynnwoodToday.com for news, sports, and events about your community, and see what your neighbors are talking about. Steve?
Vince, are you heading to that Edmonds Public Schools Foundation 5K fun run on October 5th?
You know, it's not just a fun run, because it's a fun walk and it's a fun time, and it's all for the most it's just an absolutely great event for everybody but you, I think, that day. And we probably should have to explain that one at some point.
We definitely will.
There's a big third down play, so I'm going to be
quiet.
We'll
go there first, absolutely. I will be there. 3rd and 5 for the Hawks on their own 40. And what do we got there? I believe that's going to be encroachment on the defense.
Well, except for our receiver on the far side there also moved across. So that could be offsetting, but depends on who went first.
You can't take off running if you're the wide receiver?
Well, not in the United States. In Canada, it would probably be okay. They might just be offsetting fouls here.
The referees are really talking this one over. They might have a couple different opinions here. Let's see.
Well, sure, depending on where you were looking. It could be offsides. It could be false start.
And they're going to go with false start.
I guess trumps off offsides.
So what might have been a first down is instead going to be 3rd and 10.
Yep. Well, I was open just for the offsetting. So 3rd and 10 now.
So another big third down play coming up for the Hawks. 4:44 to go here in the second quarter. Hawks leading 7-0. Justin Hopkins takes the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls to his right. He better look out as he's getting blitzed, and he's going down. Number 74, Isaiah Holmes, the 6'3", 260 defensive lineman who went off the field about 5 minutes ago with an injury. I guess Isaiah Holmes is doing okay now. He's back out there, and he's sacking the quarterback, and that's going to bring up 4th and long.
Yeah, there's just no way that you should take a sack there, and Justin probably would like to have that one back, but that's too bad. And now we're, you know what, after all that, after everything in the last 2 series, the ball is pretty much right back where it was, where Lynnwood had it about 5 minutes ago.
Fortunately for the Hawks, they're at least going to get a chance to punt this one, and we get another timeout here for Mountlake Terrace. I'm guessing you're not calling the timeout to think it over. You've got a 4th and 17.
No.
You might have had a few issues there trying to get the right personnel on the field, and we're going to stay here as again 4th and 17 coming up. 4:07 to go here. And Vince, what do you got?
Well, I wanted to kind of pass this along, especially to Mountlake Terrace fans out there coming to Mountlake Terrace High School next week. If you'd like to have a little bit of fun and support the drama program, singer, songwriter, and performer on the hit TV show Glee, Derek Nelson, will be at Mountlake Terrace High School. And his show is September 27th, as I said, next Friday at 7 o'clock in the theater at Mountlake Terrace High School. Tickets are on sale today at Red Onion Burgers, so a nice little shout-out to Red Onion. And tickets range from $18 to $25. And then there's a special meet and greet, VIP pass available for $5. So please come out and support the drama program next Friday night and meet a star from the TV show Glee.
That's kind of a big deal in Mountlake Terrace. That's a very nice deal.
Terrace has a pretty good reputation of bringing in some names from Hollywood. It's kind of funny how that works.
We will gladly take it. So looking forward to that event. The punt is on. Bates getting it off. It's kind of a wiggly punt. Caught at the 21-yard line. Fair caught, apparently. I couldn't really see the hand go up, but The ball is going to be down at the 42-yard line. That is a 30-yard punt with no return. And that was number 21, Hunter Lord, making the fair catch. So Lynnwood taking over on their own 42. We're now going to call it the 43-yard line with 3:59 to go here in the first half, and Lynnwood trailing 7-0.
So with the exception of that 54-yard run by Lacoste, this game has pretty much been a seesaw event, but the defense is having the better of everything.
I'm noticing that the clouds are getting a little bit darker out there, too. That could change the complexion later, I should say.
Yep.
Katzenberger, again, finally finding some room, spins off of a couple tacklers and lunges his way forward to the 47-yard line, a gain of 4, and that will bring up a 2nd and 6 for the Royals.
Yeah, Katzenberger's he's not going to stop those legs from churning, and unless you wrap the young man up, you better watch out. And that he turned a absolutely no gain, maybe even a loss on the play, into a 4-yard gain. That speaks very highly of the young man.
Yeah, and usually you say that's a second effort type of a thing. That might have been a 3rd and 4th effort.
Yeah.
He had to break out of a few tackles there. Katzenberger is going to take it again, cuts it back to the middle after starting to go out to the right. Nothing there as usual. And we've got a few Hawks right in the middle of that play. And guess what? One of them is Brett Potter. Another one is Caleb Davis. Right? Brett Potter's name getting called a lot here. We'll have some stats at halftime. And Potter's got to be getting up around double-digit tackles already.
Yeah.
And he's had double-digit tackles in each of the first 2 games. This one even more impressive knowing that he's playing hurt tonight with a bummed knee. But that kid, I tell you, he fights through everything. And now the Royals are looking at a 3rd and 6. Cachopo rolling back. Tries to throw it. What are they going to call
the
here?
Flag, yeah.
I'm going to guess that's going to be intentional grounding.
Sure. Has to be.
There we go, intentional grounding against the Royals. That's going to bring up a 4th and long with 2:44 to go here in the first half.
Yeah, because it's a loss of down, and it's a spot foul, if I recall, at the high school level. So, yeah, you're going to take that penalty. There's no question, because that brings up 4th and, 15?
At least. It might even be a little further back than that by the time they spot it here.
Oh, my goodness, they mark off from there,
It does get marked off 5
Yeah.
yards from the actual tackle there itself. So it looks like we're going to have about a 4th and 22.
Yep.
4th and 22 from their own 31-yard line. So with 2:44 to go here in the first half and already trailing 7-0, the Lynnwood Royals are once again going to bring out their punt team.
Neither offense helping themselves out here in the second quarter.
And so Zeke King into punt one more time. I cannot tell from here, but that might be Chance Ragsdale back to receive. No, I think it's Isaiah Green, it looks like, number 34. Green's going to take it on a bounce at the 24-yard line. Gets by the first couple tacklers, finds some space. Nice hustle by Green as he tries to fight his way through it. Finally is brought down at the 30-yard line. Only a 6, maybe a 5-yard return, but he certainly had to work his tail off to get that 5 yards.
Very exciting 5-yard return, and that's one of those punts that just drives you crazy as a returner, because the punt only went about 20, 25 yards in the air, and then it caught the right end of the ball and started just tumbling really quickly towards the end zone. And so Green, if he doesn't pick that up, you could take a 24-yard punt and make it an 84-yard punt really quickly. So good for him to pick that thing up.
Yeah, definitely. It ended up being a 45-yard punt by the time it was done rolling. So nice play on Green's part. Hopkins doesn't see what he wanted on the left-hand side. Takes off to the right running. A broken play apparently. And Hopkins is going to be tackled maybe back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that just didn't look right from the get-go. Hopkins took the snap, gave a quick little look off to the left, and the receiver on this side was blocking. They definitely thought there was a run play there, and so Hopkins just had to tuck it under and go. Loss of about half a yard.
So we'll call it 2nd and 10 still. The clock continues to tick here. 1:55 to go in the first half. Hawks leading 7-0 on a 54-yard run by Ryan Lacoste earlier in the first quarter of play. That's the only score we have here thus far. And again, 1:43 to go. The Hawks don't seem to be in too much of a rush at this point. We'll see what happens there. Gabe Brady wide open over the middle, and he hits him. Brady's got some room. He's running to the 30. Slowed down and is finally tackled at the 24-yard line. A nice gain by the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. We'll call that a 47-yarder as Gabe Brady just ran right up the middle there. Apparently somebody, I think, from Lynnwood didn't get the coverage there as Brady just ran wide open. Easy catch and pass there from Hopkins for the play.
I don't know what happened to the safety on that play, but he must have bit on one of the wideouts because Brady was just wide open down the middle.
So the Hawks at the Lynnwood 24-yard line. Plenty of time here now. 1:31 to go in the second quarter. And Brady with his first catch of the night. This time we're going to have a handoff. That's Ragsdale. Ragsdale finding a little bit of room and is finally tackled at the 19-yard line after a gain of 5.
Ragsdale's looking really sharp. Every time he touches the ball, seems like he's always moving forward and pushing the crowd forward in front of him. And I like the little hurry up right here, too, by the Hawks. It keeps Lynnwood off balance.
Yeah, 1:05 to go in the quarter. Certainly no need to hurry, but it, like you mentioned, Vince, definitely keeps them off balance. Ragsdale finds a little bit of room. He's still running. Nice spin move by Ragsdale, and he's finally brought out of bounds at the 10-yard line. First down and goal for the Hawks here with under a minute to go in the quarter.
Yeah, I think Lynnwood might have been a little gassed right there because the long play and then the quick hitter by Ragsdale, and they just didn't look ready because Ragsdale, it was pretty obvious what the play was. He was just going to run off the right side of the line, and to his credit, he just, like I said, just kept the legs churning, and it looks like Lynnwood's going to take a timeout here.
So we are going to take a timeout. 55 seconds to go in the half, and we do invite you to stick around at halftime. Lily Wynn is going to join us. Lily is the ASB president at Mountlake Terrace High School, and she'll talk about some things coming up here at the school and what's going on this year. We're going to take a quick break, though. Your score, Mountlake Terrace 7, Lynnwood 0.
If you're hungry before or after the game, visit Sorelli Pizza, located at 44th and 224th in Mountlake Terrace. Enjoy the best pizza in Snohomish County while watching your favorite sports on the 4 50-inch plasma TVs. Dine in or take out. They're open Tuesday through Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Call them at 425-670-8600 or visit them online at SorelliPizza.com.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com. The Sound Live Sports Network is brought to you by Harris Ford Lincoln, celebrating 60 years in business in a newly remodeled facility. Harris Ford Lincoln is the largest volume Ford dealer in Washington State and was voted the best in Western Washington by King 5 Evening Magazine. Harris Ford Lincoln, located at 20006 64th Avenue West in Lynnwood. You can visit them online at harrisford.com.
And we are back on the Sound Live Sports Network, where, again, your score at halftime from Edmonds Stadium, the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 14, the Lynnwood Royals 0. And this young lady standing next to me likes the sound of that score. This is Lily Wynn, the ASB president for your Mountlake Terrace Hawks and Mountlake Terrace High School. Lily, what do you think of this game so far?
Oh man, it's really good. I just love the energy going on in the crowd. Our Hawks are doing really well. This is our first lead of the season, so that's pretty awesome.
And the sports in general doing well. One sport in particular, volleyball. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm on the varsity team here at Terrace. I play DS, which is defensive specialist, and we just played Lynnwood yesterday, and we beat them 3-0.
And first win of the year for the Hawks.
Yep.
We'll take it. High five for that. Yes. Nicely done. And I got to ask you, too, and a question that I tweeted this out earlier, and I got a response back. Somebody wanted me to ask you, how is it to have to juggle ASB responsibilities and being an athlete? How tough is that for you?
It's really hard because, sports has always been a big part of my life, but also ASB is huge because now that I have such a big role to carry. But it is kind of hard, but I stay after volleyball working on ASB stuff, so I don't get home till 7 or 8.
So you have to be disciplined, but you can handle it.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. And one of the things you're working on, you've got the first assembly of the year coming up, correct?
Yes.
What's going on with that, and when is it?
Well, it's our fall activities assembly. It's next Friday, so it's September 27th. And it's pretty much just our first back-to-school assembly. So it's just going to be introducing all the fall sports, introducing all the new clubs coming, and just it's going to be really fun.
And speaking of fall sports, we should probably mention some other things here, too. We just mentioned the volleyball team getting their first win. Nice job, ladies. Another group of ladies having a very good season. Our soccer team's doing pretty well, aren't they?
Yeah, soccer's doing awesome. I think it's been a really long time since we've been undefeated, and now they're 4-0. They just beat Glacier Peak 2-0. They're doing tremendously well, and I really want to catch one of their games sometimes. After
only winning 4 games all of last season, and you're a wealth of knowledge, by the way. You're just pulling out these stats and you're going with them. I got scores, we got records, everything from Lily. This is good stuff. And again, track and field, or I should say the cross-country team also looking good this year too, right?
Yep, they're doing super well. I have a bunch of friends on the cross-country team. And, it's just very nice.
Defending division champs, I might add, from last year, so that should be fun. Hey, you've got a retreat coming up this weekend, too. What are you guys from ASB doing there?
Well, tomorrow we're staying at school till noon to 10, and then we're going to go home. And then the next day we're going to Warm Beach, which is somewhere in Stanwood. And we're going to be staying the night and just learning a bunch of new leadership qualities that we're all going to, have. And, it's going to be really fun.
And how many people are going on this retreat?
Oh, gosh. There are 70 kids in ASB this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's huge.
So it's not just the officers, it's everybody in ASB.
Oh, no, it's everyone.
Okay, so if you're not able to find any of our students around this weekend, check in Stanwood. That's where they'll be.
Yep.
Should be having a good time, too. Hey, one of the things you work on for ASB also is homecoming. Homecoming a few weeks away still, but it's something that you have to plan for, right?
Yeah. It's our biggest event of the year. It's at the end of October, so we have a little bit of time. But just all the planning that goes into homecoming, it takes months and months of preparation. So we're kind of easing our way into it.
Hey, and finally, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and we like to talk about the fun stuff, but kind of on a little more of a serious note, but something that I wanted to commend you and the rest of the ASB folks, and really the entire school for that matter. Something pretty special happened earlier this week. I know unfortunately, Meadowdale High School lost one of their students who passed away, Matthew Truex, last Friday. You guys did something that was pretty special last Monday. Why don't you talk about that a little bit, too?
Yeah, Stu texted me, I think, was it Saturday, and he was like, we got to do something. And I was like, oh, it's a great idea to make posters for him. So Sunday, before the Seahawks game and everyone left, we decided to go to the school, make a ton of posters, and just kind of show Meadowdale that we care, that Terrace cares, and that we're there for them through no matter what. Like, we're one community and we're one family. And again, Monday morning, you and some of the other students stood out in front of the school at Meadowdale and held up those banners as people were driving into the school, right? Yeah, it was a complete surprise. I'm pretty sure their advisor knew, but none of the students, none of their ASB knew. And we got a ton of voicemails and emails that day coming into Stu that they were just so thankful that we were there for them. And yeah, it was huge. And Kim Stewart, Stu being the activities and athletics director at Mountlake Terrace. And Meadowdale doing a very nice gesture during the soccer game as well, bringing over a banner to the Mountlake Terrace fans and thanking them for their support. And unfortunately, under some rather sad circumstances, but it's nice to see those two schools come together. Yeah. And I'm sure that's another thing, too, as an ASB officer and as the ASB president, you know a lot of these other ASB officers, too, right? I mean, the schools do talk to one another, and you guys kind of coordinate things, right? Yeah, definitely. Meadowdale went with us to our summer leadership conference, so we got really close with that school, so we knew a lot of their ASB members, and it was just heartbreaking to know that, like, that could have happened to, like, our school if I went to Meadowdale. So, I don't know. We just had to be there for them. Oh, great support shown on both schools, and we always like to see that. And it's definitely a community, so we like to see the school districts working together. Hey, Lily, this has been a lot of fun, and I'm sure this isn't the last time I'm going to interview you this season or in the upcoming season. So, best of luck to you. Have a lot of fun on that retreat, and keep these Hawks activities going. I think everybody's having a good time so far. Thank you. All right, so again, Lily Wynn, our guest at halftime, ASB president. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk about the second half of play. Your score here at halftime, Mountlake Terrace 14, Lynnwood 0. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And we are back here at Edmonds Stadium. Unbeknownst to me, during that entire interview, we still had a player down from the end of the first half of play on that last play. And Vince, you were watching it a little more closely than I was. Apparently, is that Tanner Munnis down there? That's
I believe so.
Sitting on the field.
And I double checked because I saw his number, and then I wanted to double check before I say anything.
And I'm looking out there, and I see his father, Tim Munnis, out there. So that, and I should point out, Tanner is sitting up, so I don't want anybody to be too concerned.
Right.
Not that this is a good thing, but at the very least, he is awake and sitting up, and I'm not sure what the injury is, but.
Well, here's what I do know, and again, I don't want to say anything that I don't know for sure, but I've seen what looks like an air splint brought out and put on what from here looks like maybe his right leg, because he's got his left leg now kind of bent in front of him there, and he has been playing a lot of linebacker for the Hawks here. He's just a sophomore and a great little athlete. His older brother, Toby, is senior this year, and those two kids, I've known them since they were about, 3 or 4 years old, I guess. And their dad happens to be a Seattle firefighter and a fire captain, actually. So he was out there for a short time. And I think the other thing you probably should know, folks, is that you probably are seeing the referee still out of the field, and it is by rule, and I think it's a good rule, that if there's an injury on the field, halftime doesn't technically start until all the players have left the field, and the referees do not leave the field if there are any players or coaches still out on the field. The referees are usually the last ones out in halftime, and so technically this halftime has not yet started, so there's still 15 minutes up on the board. I doubt seriously that we'll take a 15-minute timeout here for halftime, but
this is one of our home games here, so who knows? Maybe we'll even pull an interview or two here and have a little fun with it while we've got some time to waste.
I just hope the young man's okay. I mean,
absolutely.
You hate to see anybody get injured. We've seen, 3 or 4 Royals go down tonight, and the Hawks already very depleted. A bunch of names missing off of the Hawks starting lineup, and to see another one go down, it's just, you don't want to see that.
Yeah, and they're bringing a car onto the field right now to transport Tanner off the field. So, again, it appears to be a leg injury. I'm not sure if that's one of his parents' cars or what that is. And not a huge car, I might add, so hopefully we'll have enough space in there to get Tanner in there. And, yeah, we definitely hate to see this. Tanner Munnis, a sophomore on this team, played a little quarterback in game number 1 when Justin Hopkins initially went down with an injury. And he's been the starting quarterback on the JV team lately. And he's now going to be transported off the field. And I'm handed a phone here by John Clippard. I wanted to take this time to just point out one event coming up for Mountlake Terrace folks. The annual Mountlake Terrace football dinner auction is coming up on October 5th. That is Saturday night, and 2 weeks from tomorrow will be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. rather, at the Lake Ballinger Clubhouse. And I'm trying to read this as I go here. A lot of prizes, raffle prizes to be given away. A fun auction, actually. I picked up a couple auction items there last year, and a very solid dinner, I might add. So if you're interested in that, I know you can find out more information by going to, I believe it's terracefootball.com. You can certainly contact the school as well if you need to. You can even send me a Twitter note. Again, Steve Willits, all one word, STEVEWILLITS, and I'll certainly put you in the right hands. But terracefootball.com is definitely a way to get the information. Or you can find Mountlake Terrace Football on Twitter or on Facebook as well and follow that and get plenty of Mountlake Terrace information beyond this and other things. Speaking of October 5th,
it's a busy day.
I'm going to be looking kind of interesting for that dinner that night.
You're going to show up to the auction looking a little different than you were earlier in that day, aren't you?
Yeah, we can kind of segue into that. Why not? We've got some time, right? As you may or may not know, Mountlake Terrace played Edmonds Woodway last week. Edmonds Woodway did win that game, and I lost a bet with Keith Neely, the announcer for Edmonds Woodway. And consequently, I have to shave my head at the Edmonds School District Public Foundation 5K run at the Alderwood Mall that day. That's a morning event, and we encourage people to show up for that, by the way. Not for my head shaving necessarily, but because it's a great cause. That foundation raises money and supports 33 different schools in the Edmonds School District.
Yep.
That's one of their big events of the year. So even if you're not a runner, you can walk the 5K. And if you're not a runner or a walker, by all means, feel free to show up and just support them. There will be live music. I know there will be a battle of the bands. All 4 bands from the high schools are going to be performing, and the winning band picks up a $500 gift card for their school, amongst other things.
Yeah. Now, I know that you saw it. Now, last week I was home ill during the game, and I was coughing up a storm. And I thought the last thing you guys need is a big Italian guy standing in the booth coughing on the microphone and just wreaking havoc. So, of course, I'm at home and I'm watching the game because you guys are wonderful, and why wouldn't I be watching the game? And when I was hearing you make this claim that you were willing to shave your head if the Hawks lost, the Photoshop guy in me decided I'd have a little fun with a picture of you. And you're a good-looking young man, I have to say. And I'm not so sure that's not a good look for you. I think that there's some potential there, but I think the truth will out here on October 5th. If you really are going to go, are you really going to go through with that?
I made the bet.
You're a man of your word.
It's been published.
Yeah, broadcast.
It's been broadcasted. We've had some write-ups on it in the media. It's been out there on the internet. I don't think I have a choice at this point.
I don't think you have a choice either.
It's coming off. And, let's be honest. I don't exactly have Brad Pitt hair.
That's true. That's true.
It's not going to be the worst look in the world for me. And, we're willing to roll with it and see where it goes.
I want to share this with you, too. That Angela would hand me the computer here with some text on it, but I think I'm just going to speak extemporaneously here a little bit, too. That the program that you are watching is a part of a wonderful collaborative effort between the Edmonds School District CTE program, specifically the CTE programs at Mountlake Terrace High School, HBN, the Hawkeye, and the My Neighborhood network of news sites. We started this little function last year with MLT News, Teresa Whipple, and we're just really proud to be able to bring you these games and now be representing the entire Edmonds School District. So I just want you to know, if you're watching this game and you've got a student in the Edmonds School District, especially if they're in the high school age or maybe they're coming up through the ranks, they're maybe a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader and will eventually be in the high school, and they would like to be a part of broadcasting state-of-the-art live via the internet, both video and audio, and just having a whole lot of fun and doing something that very, very few students, high school or college, are doing, not just in the state but across the country. It's the workhorses behind what you were watching, folks, are all the students who are doing this as part of their learning, part of their instruction, part of the skills that they're developing through our program here. So if you're at all interested or you know somebody who should be part of this program, have them give Angelo Como a call at Mountlake Terrace High School. And the number at Mountlake Terrace High School is 425-431-7776. And again, that's Angelo Como, who is our technical director behind everything that's going on here, and my good colleague, my dear friend at Mountlake Terrace High School, who really has the positive energy behind everything we do. He's a can-do kind of guy, and his students certainly reflect that. And I'm just happy that my students are able to be part of this too, Steve. And what a great, great learning opportunity this is. And thanks to Teresa and everybody at MLT News and Lynnwood Today and My Edmonds News.
Yeah, and I sound like a broken record after a while, but we have to keep saying it. There's a reason why this isn't being done at every other school in the state right now, because why would you not want to do it if you could? Yeah. There aren't too many Angelo Comos out there who are able to put this together, and he's done an amazing job. You as well, Vince. I know the two of you together have been working on this for a couple of years now and getting it in place, and we're into year number 2 now, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. And as you mentioned, I don't understand why more students don't want to be a part of this. It is an outstanding program, and not very many places, I was going to say in the state, but in the country probably have this opportunity. So if you do have a student out there, certainly by all means look into getting involved in this program and being a part of it. And
I don't want to forget the other guy sitting here in the booth with us tonight too, who you will hear calling the Meadowdale Edmonds Woodway game, Keith Neely. We're so fortunate to have him part of the team too, and you know, he had been doing the Warrior radio prior to what we did last year with the video and audio. But you know, Keith is first off, he's a Cougar, so you gotta like that. But secondly, that you know, he's a technician, broadcast technician here in the Seattle area, and knows a little bit more than I'll ever know about that aspect of things, and then calls a great game.
I was just going to say, he's a dual threat.
It's unbelievable. The guy's, you know.
So he's got 2 out of 3 is what you're saying. Well, he's a great play-by-play announcer.
And wait a minute. What's
he's
this 2 out of 3 stuff?
Excellent engineer, but he's a Cougar. So,
hey, see, that's
you can't have everything, right, Keith Neely?
That's the difference between the Cougs on this side of the state, you doggies. We like to see the Huskies. I hope the Huskies just level Idaho State tomorrow, and the Cougs are going to be playing over in Eastern Washington later on tomorrow night. That should be a couple of wins, I think, for
Idaho,
for the schools here from Washington. And isn't it great when the Seahawks are just kicking it, and both the U and WSU have got good teams on the field.
And I crack jokes, but I actually do root for the Cougars when they're not playing the Huskies. And to me, that would be, how about that for a perfect weekend? I mean,
absolutely.
If we can, you know, and I digress a little bit, Lynnwood Royals fans are watching us as well, but you and I both are involved with Mountlake Terrace. And for us, if we can get a Husky, a Cougar, a Seahawk, and a Terrace Hawk victory in one weekend, that's a nice 4-0.
That would be a pretty special weekend of football, absolutely.
Hey, before we get going with this game here, and we're just a few minutes away as the clock's showing about 3 minutes, want to go over some of the stats here. And really, the scoreboard showing 14-0. It's fairly even, though, here on the stat board, as we're looking at total yards and just total offense overall. Mountlake Terrace with a slight edge right now, 183 to 143. Passing yardage, Lynnwood with a slight advantage, 102 to 80. It's the running game where the Hawks have a little more of an advantage right now. 103 yards of offense on the ground for the Hawks, 41 for the Royals. And we can't say it enough. The Royals running back, Andrew Katzenberger, is a very, very good player. And he's just being shut down right now because of the fact that the Hawks are just playing out of their minds on defense. to look at some of these stats right now. And, oh, by the way, I got to mention a tweet I just got here in a minute, and this will be fun, but I'll go over these numbers first. I see you, Mason Stone. You know where that's going.
Yep.
Lynnwood here, Justin Cachopo, 8 for 12 in the first half, 102 yards passing. We mentioned it, Andrew Katzenberger, 13 carries, 41 yards. He's also got 2 catches for 21 yards. The leading receiver for Lynnwood in the first half, Richard Truon, 3 catches for 44 yards. Looking at the Hawks right now, Justin Hopkins, 4 for 5, 80 yards, did throw an interception. Chance Ragsdale, 11 carries for 42 yards. Ryan Lacoste, 2 carries, 51 yards, one of which was a 55-yard touchdown and put the Hawks ahead 7-0 at the time. And then on the receiving side of things, only 4 completions for the Hawks. 2 to Annie Clossy for 16 yards. Jonathan Williams, 1 catch for 18 yards. And then Gabe Brady with the big 46-yard play. Looking at tackles here right now, and this is unofficial, and I know that John Clippard actually goes back and watches the film after the games to get this right. But as of right now, we have Brett Potter down for 10 tackles in the first half.
That's unbelievable.
Again, I can't say it enough. 10 tackles in the first half, I would be amazed under any circumstances. Yeah. Brett Potter wasn't supposed to play tonight, and he's got 10 tackles. So
that speaks volumes for the young man. His desire to play, but his character and his willingness to come out here and be part of this team that desperately needs some good live bodies out here, and healthy bodies. We certainly hope, if you're wondering why this halftime has been extended a little bit, we had an injury on the final play of the first half as Katzenberger was running the ball. It looked like Tanner Munnis got caught up in the mix of things there and perhaps had an injury to his right leg, and he was out on the field for a good 7 to 10 minutes before he was carted off in what looked like maybe his mom's car, of all things.
It might have been, yeah.
And so the halftime cannot start until all the players and coaches and referees are off the field. So.
And Vince, want to remind folks of a few things, programming notes coming up. First of all, after this game tonight, a big game in the Edmonds School District. The 2-0 Edmonds Woodway Warriors, who have yet to give up a point all season long, versus the 2-0 Meadowdale Mavericks, who pitched a shutout last week. So these two teams combined have only given up 14 points. Both teams are very, very capable on offense. It won't be a shutout, I don't think. 2 very good running backs, by the way. Junior Apoka Mensah for Edmonds Woodway is very, very good. And then, oh, by the way, Malik Braxton for Meadowdale, who I had a chance to watch and broadcast last week. Super quick feet. He's a very solid running back. If you're not doing anything tonight, stick around on the even if you are doing anything, make some plans. But the Sound Live Sports Network, coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, you can tune it right in here and watch that game. We've got a couple of games for you next week as well. You and I will not be on the air as we're going to be – I'm heading up to Glacier Peak to watch the Hawks play. Yeah. We won't be broadcasting it. However, Keith Neely and Steve McGrain will be doing 2 games here. Jackson versus Edmonds Woodway at 5 p.m., another huge matchup.
That should be a lot of fun.
Jackson's a very solid team this year. And then Kamiak playing Lynnwood at 8 o'clock. So if you're a Lynnwood Royal fan watching this game, tune in and watch your Royals again next week. So, again, plenty of action every Friday night on the Sound Live Sports Network. And I had to mention this. You and I were talking a minute ago about the Huskies and Cougars and how we're rooting for our teams this weekend.
Right.
Hey, Mason, be mad at Vince here. That's not
right.
me.
I'm sorry, Mason.
You are a Cougar fan.
That's right.
Cougars are playing the Idaho Vandals.
That's right.
And
forgot about that.
Mason Stone, our 2013 alum from Mountlake Terrace High School, who picked up a scholarship and is playing at the University of Idaho this year. Mason is over in Moscow watching this game on the internet, heard me say that, and his tweet, "How are you going to root for the Cougs over us? Unbelievable, haha." So Mason, I'm rooting for you. I know you're gray shirting right now, so until Mason puts on that jersey,
that's right.
I will.
That's right.
Hey, I'll tell you what, when Mason starts playing for Idaho, I'm a Vandals fan at that point. But hey, Mason, tomorrow, hey, good luck from watching that one down on the field or in the stands, and we certainly wish you very well. I would love to see you playing out there, and I hope that happens here very soon. So you take care of yourself over there, and thanks for watching us here on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Hey, and one other thing, and Mason, I apologize, but I am a Cougar, so I just gotta call it like I see it. That should be a fun game, though. Sort of the Battle of the Palouse there. Idaho's down a little bit right now, but I like how they're recruiting good young athletes like Mason Stone, and like to see that program come back. But I've got another little connection to the ISU UW game that I'll bring up at some point here today too.
Sure.
Don't let me forget.
And we are just about ready to go here in the third quarter. If you're just tuning back in, the first half score, Mountlake Terrace 14, Lynnwood 0, and the second half is underway. Mountlake Terrace wearing the home black. Smart play there, Isaiah Green making sure that ball went into the end zone. It's going to be a touchback, and the Hawks will take over their first possession on the 20-yard line.
Really smart play, because that ball, if it goes out of bounds or if it goes into the end zone, that's good news for the Hawks. If he picks it up and tries to do something with it at that point, who knows what could happen.
So again, the Hawks here ready to go. Their first possession, first play in the third quarter coming up. Hopkins takes the snap, hands off to Ragsdale, finds a little bit of room around the right. He finds more than a little room. He's still going. He's to the 40, cuts it back, and is finally tackled at the 41 after a gain of 21 yards.
Impressive start for the Hawks. Nothing fancy, but pretty good misdirection that time by Hopkins. And I tell you, that's one thing that Justin does very nicely, is he really hides what's happening there in the handoffs. And as the amount of light seems to continue to reduce right here in front of our eyes, maybe that will help out even more with those dark uniforms.
So Ragsdale now with 63 yards on the ground today. Make that 65 now as he picks up another 2.
Yep.
Tackled at the 43, 2nd and 8 for the Hawks.
Ragsdale certainly the workhorse here. And that's really no surprise, because quite honestly, he's the one healthy back that the Hawks have that has been consistent throughout this the season, early part of the season here, and he's taking advantage of it. And I guess that's the other thing to think about too. Yes, there have been some injuries, but it's good to see that guys who may not have gotten a start, who have not gotten a lot of playing time, are really stepping it up nicely.
Hopkins takes the snap, handoff, and that's Clossy. Clossy finding a little bit of room, and he gets a little push as well. Nice play by Clossy. Lunges forward for 10 yards and another Hawks first down.
Again, there you go. You can mix things up a little bit. Ragsdale's going to be workhorse, and then you sneak Clossy in there. Maybe Ryan Lacoste. Maybe Brett Potter.
Austin Bates. We've seen him get a couple carries. That was interesting, by the way. Bates taking 2 carries in that Wildcat on the very first possession. 2 carries that actually picked up some yardage, and haven't seen him back there since. Maybe in the second half. Stay tuned. Handoff here to Ragsdale. He's got some room, and he lunges his way forward to maybe another Mountlake Terrace Hawks first down.
When he gets a good block, a good series of blocks like he's getting on this drive, and boy, we're calling his number, but let's give credit to that offensive line, because they're opening up some gigantic holes there for him. But he's an exciting runner. I don't care if he's outside the hash marks or inside. He's a good north-south runner. And right now he's just making it look easy, but we know it's not.
No, and in that offensive line, missing Jevin Pawnui for the second straight game.
Right.
All Wesco offense and defense on the line last year. Out for his second game in a row, and we'll mention some of those Hawks linemen in just a minute here. And they open up another big hole, and Ragsdale's got room. He's to the 10, he's to the 5, and is finally brought down just short of the goal line. And we've got a penalty at the end of the play.
Might have been a horse collar.
I thought you were fixing my collar there. I'm leaning forward going, what am I doing
here?
What
the heck? Yeah. You were choking too. I'm sorry. I get a little excited, though, sometimes. I think that was a horse collar tackle, and I know that that's been a point of emphasis. Let's see if that's the call. If it is, it's a personal foul. Yeah, it is.
It is, and that might take the ball from the 2 to the 1.
Ooh,
so
yeah,
it doesn't give the Hawks a lot of yardage. They didn't need a lot of yardage, as that was a 36-yard carry for Ragsdale, putting him over 100 yards for the game already. And the Hawks looking to extend this lead. They're already up 14-0 with 9:54 to go in the third quarter. And Brett Potter back in at the fullback, and Potter with a nice block. Ragsdale gets into the end zone at touchdown Terrace.
Well, that was just strength right up the middle. No fancy business, just a straight handoff. Follow the big lead blocker there. And Ragsdale rewarded with the carry there for 6 points. Very impressive drive by the Hawks, my goodness.
Yeah, Ragsdale coming into this game looking for his first touchdown of the year. That's his second of the night. Mikey Jensen on for the extra point. Kick is up. Kick is good. And the Hawks, with 9:46 to go here in the third quarter, extend their lead. We're going to take a quick break here at Edmond Stadium. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network with your score, Mountlake Terrace 21, Lynnwood 0.
The Sound Live Sports Network is brought to you by Harris Ford Lincoln, celebrating 60 years in business in a newly remodeled facility. Harris Ford Lincoln is the largest volume Ford dealer in Washington State and was voted the best in Western Washington by King 5 Evening Magazine. Harris Ford Lincoln, located at 20006 64th Avenue West in Lynnwood. You can visit them online at harrisford.com.
And welcome back to Edmond Stadium. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Our score here with 9:46 to go in the third quarter. Mountlake Terrace 21, Lynnwood 0. Thanks in large part to a drive in which Chance Ragsdale broke off 4 double-digit yardage carries, and then finally plunged in from a yard out to give the Hawks a 21-0 lead.
Very, very impressive drive. Didn't take very much time. Off the clock, just 2 minutes and 14 seconds there. And to go 80 yards in that amount of time and nothing through the air, folks, that was just good, hard-nosed running by the Hawks.
The Hawks now with 183 yards of rushing for the game, and they've got a 21-0 lead. Here comes Lynnwood on the return. That is Lord bringing the ball up the middle and is finally brought down at the 34-yard line, where Lynnwood will take over for their first possession of the second half.
And here's where it gets a little dangerous for Lynnwood. We've seen that they would like to throw the ball, but as soon as the Hawks know that they're going to throw the ball, then the Hawks have been pretty successful putting pressure on their quarterback. And you don't want to get into a situation where you're turning the ball over at all here. They've got plenty of time. 21 points is a lot of points to come back from, but it's not impossible with 2 full quarters to play here.
Cachopo now dropping back, rolling to his left, gets pressured and finally has to throw it away. Intended receiver was Youngman. Incomplete, and that will bring up a 2nd and 10.
And I think that's the key right there. I said that if the Hawks know you're going to throw, they can bring in an extra man and just dare you to throw it. Play more straight-up man in the backfield here. And even though they're young, they're willing to do that because they know that they can get pressure on the quarterback pretty quickly. Lynnwood's going to have to run some shorter routes, and the quarterback's going to have to take less time back there if they're going to have some success.
So 2nd and 10 at the 35-yard line. Cachopo under center. Drops back, 3-step, and pass is almost picked off as he was looking for Youngman. That was number 5 on the play. That was Mikey Jensen, the sophomore, who is we normally see him doing kicking responsibilities. Now he's playing a little DB, and he almost had his first pick of his varsity career.
Yeah, Morrissey, the intended receiver there, and I think Jensen was getting ready to make a tackle and then realized that the ball was well behind the receiver and just about made a great pick there. But it's nice to see him out getting some action, too, at the linebacker position.
So 3rd and 10 here for the Royals. Still looking for their first yard of the half. Here come the Hawks trying to blitz. They set up a screen. Klossy missing the tackle initially, and he's finally tackled from behind by Pollinger. However, Katzenberger is going to pick up 11 yards, and he does get the Lynnwood Royal first down.
I'll tell you what, if the Hawks don't pick up on that little element, Katzenberger's going to break one loose here. If anytime you see the Lynnwood offensive line letting you go by, somebody better be spying Katzenberger, and you might you might not make a tackle for loss there, but maybe you can knock the ball down or at least hold them to minimal yards. You can't give up 10 yards on a little screenplay like that.
Now 46-yard line for the Royals, and here they come again, and they're going to run the exact same play, this time to Youngman, the tight end. Hawks sniffing it out this time. Nice play by a handful of Terrace players, including Toby Munnis. I want to say number 56 was in on there as well. That's Billy Parkins.
Yeah, Youngman doing a nice job there, just making the catch. Holy smokes, that ball came in pretty hot for him and bounced off his pads. And nice job of him.
Loss of a yard on the play. Clock continuing to run. 8:37 to go here in the third quarter. Lynnwood trailing 21-0. And the clock is not working against them yet. However, if you're down by 3 touchdowns in the second half, you need to get something going. And that doesn't hurt them right there. That is a completion to number 24, David Wynn. Wynn's going to pick up 12 yards and another Royals first down.
So that's what I was talking about. The Hawks are going to be willing to play man on the corners there and bring an extra person. But the Royals picked up on that and realized that they're going to have to run a quicker route, and that worked to their advantage, pick up 12 yards.
And we've talked about this before tonight. Lynnwood, certainly not a stranger to being on this side of the field. They've been able to get over the 50-yard line. It's here where they stub their toe, and give a lot of credit to the Terrace defense as well.
Absolutely.
Let's see what happens here. Cachopo drops back. No, he finally hands it off. And Katzenberger not going anywhere. Caleb Davis, the big fella, number 74, wraps him up. And he's going to lose a few yards.
Nice job by Davis sniffing that one out. That was a good example. You got to keep an eye on number 3, on Katzenberger for the Royals, because he's your workhorse. He's the guy that has really done the damage tonight for the Royals. And nice play by the defensive lineman by just staying with that play and not going for the fake there.
And one thing we should mention, too, the offensive line and the defensive line, essentially one and the same. Those guys are going both ways. Cachopo fakes the play, pump fakes it, finally throws downfield. Incomplete, as we've got a couple of number 24s running there. That was number 24, Zach Walgren, playing very nice defense on number 24, David Wynn.
Nice job by Walgren, because I definitely shifted my eyes there on the pump fake, but Walgren didn't bite at all. In fact, he probably was in better position to make the catch there if the ball had been on target than Wynn would have been.
So 3rd and 12 coming up here for the Hawks. For the Royals. A big defensive play here for the Hawks, as they are holding on to that 21-0 lead. Cachopo looks back to pass, throws a screen, almost intercepted, as Toby Munnis looking for another pick. He's already got one this year. That would have been nice.
Yep.
However, that does bring up 4th and 12 for Lynnwood.
And this is a situation where I think Lynnwood probably is going to go ahead and punt it away. It looks like the punter is out there. But as the Hawks have got to be aware here, this is also a great place to run a fake punt. And you better, make all of your checks. And don't take your eye off where the ball is here.
Yeah, Isaiah Green once again back to return. He's standing on his own 13-yard line. King awaits the snap. Kicking it to the right. Green catches it at the 10. Gets past the first tackler. Gets a block as well. And is finally tackled at the 19-yard line. Very nice block by Any Klossy there, as Green eludes the first tackler. Yeah. And then the aforementioned player tried to come upfield to make a tackle, and Klossy was waiting for him and laid him out a bit. And the Hawks will take over their second possession of the third quarter here with 7:09. And, I'll tell you what, number 42, Toby Munnis now holding his shoulder. Not a good night for the Munnises in terms of injuries right now. We mentioned it earlier. His brother Tanner taken off in a car with what looked like a leg injury right at the end of the half, and now Toby's down. Hand off to Ragsdale. He runs right, cuts it back into the middle. He's met immediately by 4, maybe 5 Lynnwood Royals. But he does pick up 3 yards, and that will bring up a 2nd and 7.
Yeah, I think the Hawks are going to be very content to go with Ragsdale right, Ragsdale left, Ragsdale up the middle, and then every once in a while sneak something else in there that gives a little misdirection, and maybe hand it off to Klossy or let Justin throw a couple balls here. But you certainly don't want to do anything that would put you in a turnover situation, and you want to eat up a lot of clock here too.
Have yet to pass this half, and they're not going to do any differently now. Ragsdale started out to his right, saw an opening. Nice job by Chance to cut it back into the middle. Is finally brought down at the 28-yard line. About a yard short here as we're looking at 3rd down and 1.
Really nice decision on the part of Chance Ragsdale there, just to stay north-south, don't give in to the temptation to go east-west, and get as many yards as you can. And now they're in a 3rd and very short, very doable first down attempt here by the Hawks on 3rd and less than 1.
As the clock ticks just under 6 minutes to go here. Nice play there as the first tackler is missed. That is Chance Ragsdale.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure I got the right player. Chance was met in the backfield as soon as he touched the ball. Did a very nice job to avoid losing yardage and picking up a first down. A gain of 8, and the Hawks now with a 1st and 10 at their own 36.
Like I said, Ragsdale right, Ragsdale left, Ragsdale up the middle. That might just be the right equation for a victory here for the Hawks.
Make them stop it at this point. If they're not going to keep going back to it, as Ragsdale has been pretty much the entire offense here in the second half. He had 42 yards at the half, and we'll get some numbers here shortly, but he's getting up close to around 100 yards in this 3rd quarter alone. Ragsdale takes the handoff, then gives it to Klosse, who cuts back. Starts to take it back into the middle to the left and is finally tackled at the 40 after a gain of 4.
So there's that misdirection that I talked about earlier that probably is going to start to work the later in the game. The Hawks are able to keep their lead and keep the ball moving on the ground, because the Royals are going to have to make some aggressive moves. They're going to have to do a little bit of overplay, and you know, the basketball analogy would be as soon as you start doing, the back door kind of opens up, and the misdirection is going to open up here for the Hawks.
Another handoff to Ragsdale, goes up the middle and is tackled at the 44-yard line. And once again, the Hawks are going to look at a 3rd and short. We're going to call this a 3rd and 2 here, as we're now looking at 4:40 to go here in the 3rd quarter. And the Hawks just grinding it out right now, doing their best to keep the chains moving and keeping the ball away from Lynnwood right now. Hopkins, shotgun formation, hands off to Ragsdale. He's got a little bit of room. Do have a flag in the backfield. We'll wait to see what that is. Ragsdale does get tackled on the 47-yard line of Lynnwood after an 8-yard gain, but again, there are flags on the field.
And it's a holding call against the Hawks. That's too bad, too, because it was well away from where Ragsdale was hitting the line to gain there. Just an unnecessary hold. I'm not sure who in the world could have been holding on that spot on the field, since there were no Hawks there ever. But they're going to mark it off from the 42.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been the line judge who may not have thrown it where the flag necessarily should have been. I think that might have been just the trajectory of his throw, if you will. He's on the side, yeah. But I think he did throw that into the line. So needless to say, it's 3rd and 14. Hawks at their own 32. We might see a pass here finally, and we will. Or will we? No. Hopkins drops back to pass, is blitzed, and is tackled behind the line of scrimmage by number 65. That is Craig Nockey. Hey, good to see Craig Nockey in there. We saw him come off with a knee injury in the first half.
Yeah.
Always good to see players once they go down and get back on the field. And Nockey coming through with a big sack for the Royals. A loss of 5 yards on the play. And with 3:42 to go here in the 3rd quarter, the Hawks and Austin Bates on to punt for the first time this half.
Yeah, that might have been the first kind of poor play call I've seen the Hawks make the second half, maybe all game. Why not just run the thing right there, knowing that you're not going to give up any yards?
And we get a whistle here before the play.
Not sure what the indication is going to be here. Was there a timeout prior to the snap?
We do get a timeout for Mountlake Terrace, their first of the half. And we're going to take a quick break here. So again, 3:27 to go in the 3rd quarter. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network with our score, Mountlake Terrace 21, Lynnwood 0.
Attention runners and walkers, go the distance for Hungry Minds on October 5th at Alderwood Mall in a 5K fundraiser for students in the Edmonds School District. Visit edmondspsf.org/5K for more information. Again, that is a wonderful, wonderful 5K fundraiser on October 5th at the Alderwood Mall. The Sound Live Sports Network is presented by the My Neighborhood News Network, South Snohomish County's online gathering place. Visit My Edmonds News, MLT News, and LynnwoodToday.com for news, sports, and events about your community, and see what your neighbors are talking about. Steve?
And we are ready for the punt here. 3:27 to go in the third quarter. Hawks 21, Lynnwood Royals 0. Bates for the Hawks, punts the ball away. Got a nice rush, but does get it off. Not a very good punt. Might get a little bit of a roll, or might not. Finally is down at the 49-yard line of Lynnwood. The punt only goes 24 yards, and Lynnwood, down 21-0, is going to have decent field possession here with 3:17 to go in the third quarter.
Exactly, and boy, it is getting dark right now, and I realize that it tends to do that at night. I realize that, but it's getting dark because there's also some cloud cover, and we're not getting any ambient light from the sun setting here. And as much as I love this stadium, we got to do something about maybe putting a couple more bright lights up here and filling in some gaps, because it is dark in a couple places on this field.
So the ball has now been spotted at midfield. Cachopo hands it off. That is big number 3 once again, Andrew Katzenberger.
Yeah, no gain there at all.
The junior. It's finally brought down at the 50-yard line. And we're looking at a 2nd and 10.
At this point, too, the Royals are going to have to get a little more creative with the run game, or at least try some different blocking schemes in there to mix things up, because Katzenberger up the middle has not worked yet tonight.
2nd and 10. Lynnwood trails 21-0, wearing the road whites. Cachopo takes the snap. He's looking downfield. He's getting blitzed and completes the pass over the middle to number 7. That's Kevin Wynn, the sophomore, 5'6", 150. Gain of 5, and that will bring up a 3rd and 5.
Good patience that time by the Royals, and specifically Cachopo, to let that receiver get open, but also good defensive play too. Holding that to, the young man was hit right as he made the catch.
So big play here for Lynnwood, 3rd and 5. We're probably looking at 4th down territory here, but we'll see what happens. Cachopo rolling out to his right, looking downfield. He's got some time, and he finally throws it. Complete to Wynn, and he's got some room, and I believe he's going to – no, he might not make it all the way. Finally tackled at the 2-yard line after a gain of 43. The sophomore, who had not had a catch up until the last play, now has 2 in a row and gets Lynnwood within 2 yards of the goal line.
Wow, that's a big play for the Royals. And, as a coach, one of the things that you definitely tell your quarterbacks is not to throw back over the middle. You're likely to get picked. And that was close to being picked, but unfortunately the overly aggressive play by the defensive backs allowed that play to extend well beyond what it probably normally would have.
So Lynnwood threatening here. They actually spotted it at the 4-yard line. Cachopo with a very tight set. Fumble on the play. There's a scramble for it. Some of the Hawks players saying they have it. We're awaiting the sign from the officials as they unpile this group of players here. And they're going to say Lynnwood retains possession, but not until they fall on it on the 7-yard line and a loss of 3 yards.
That just looked like a total mix-up between quarterback and running back there. It was going to be just a straight dive play, but the quarterback and the running back ran into each other, and the ball squirted out.
And that was Mikhail Kirkman, the big fullback, who is yet to have a carry tonight. Kirkman, number 45, and he's a big fella, 5'10", 245. He's still in there at fullback. Let's see what happens here. Cachopo rolling out. He's looking into the end zone. Fires, incomplete. And that was one heck of a stick here, as I cannot see the number.
Is that Walgren, maybe?
I think it might have been Walgren, as I'm still looking for the numbers here. They're tough to read as it gets a little darker. It is Zach Walgren. Very nice play on Zach's part as he just laid the lumber on the intended receiver.
Yeah, otherwise that's a touchdown.
Incomplete, and it's 3rd and 8.
Wow. Almost felt that one up here, Steve.
Nice hit. You always like to see a good stick at the high school level and a good clean hit at that. And Walgren just timed that one out nicely and dislodged that ball. Lynnwood looking at 3rd and goal on the 8. Cachopo rolls out to his right again, fires into the end zone one more time. Touchdown, Royals. Number 25, Richard Tron with the catch. And with 59 seconds to go here in the third quarter, Lynnwood is on the board, or are they? Penalty marker down at the 13-yard line.
I'm not real sure that this might not be going against Lynnwood. We'll see. Oh.
Roughing the passer against the Hawks. Touchdown stands. And this game just got a whole lot more interesting. 59 seconds to go in the third quarter. Lynnwood trails 21-6. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff, and Lynnwood about to try the extra point to make this a 14-point game.
Well, I'm not sure what the breakdown was in the defensive back there, but there wasn't a defensive back near either receiver in the end zone there. That was just a simple rollout play. And looked like one guy ran a little post corner route, and the other guy just stayed in the flat. I don't know nothing terribly tricky about that.
Osman Faye, number 37, on for the extra point, and it is blocked. Hawks coming through there. That might have been Caleb Davis. It was, as his teammates are giving him a pat on the back. Let's see if that comes back to haunt Lynnwood later. So we have 59 seconds to go here in the third quarter. We're going to take a quick break here at Edmond Stadium. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Our score, Mountlake Terrace 21, Lynnwood 6.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
Sorry. I had to get towels. It's raining now. And we are back here at Edmond Stadium. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Late third quarter, Lynnwood finally getting on the board here, now trailing the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 21-6. Looking at some quick yardage here, Mountlake Terrace overall leading the yardage battle 277 to 206. And the most glaring stat is the rushing yards in particular. The Hawks with 197 yards rushing to Lynnwood's 34. And when you're up by 15, rushing yards is what you want. That keeps the chains moving. That keeps the clock going. We're going to see if the Hawks can do that here as we are just about ready to go here in the fourth quarter. There's only 59 seconds to go in the third. And, oh, by the way, it is pouring down rain all of a sudden. This might make things even a little bit more interesting, Vince.
You know, Steve, I'm maybe not the smartest guy in the stadium right now, but you just had a 15-yard penalty that allowed you to kick off from your opponent's 45. You're down by 15 points, and you let your kicker kick it out of the end zone. It's raining. The wind is behind you.
Sure.
That's an easy. I'm kicking an onside kick, and I'm making the Hawks make a play there.
See what they can do, yeah.
I just don't understand that at all.
Hopkins hands off to Ragsdale, and again, the rain is really coming down. We played 3 quarters, or almost 3 quarters, of rain-free football. That is not the case right now, as this rain is coming down and it's blowing. This might make things interesting for the next game as well. Again, Meadowdale, Edmonds, Woodway, 2 teams that love to run the ball. 2 teams that have explosive and very exciting tailbacks. If you get a chance to watch that game tonight, tune in to the Sound Live Sports Network right here on soundlivesportsnetwork.com for what should be a very fun game. But until then, we've got some more football to play here. 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Hopkins takes the snap, gives it to Ragsdale. Doesn't find a lot of room off left tackle. Is finally brought down at the 22-yard line. 3rd and 8, and the clock continues to, actually the clock is stopped now with 8 seconds. I believe they're going to wind it here in a minute, and we've probably come to the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, it'll definitely be the end of the third quarter, but what the referees missed, Brett Potter has to go off because his helmet came off, and I can tell you that his helmet didn't come off by accident. He had it ripped off, and that's a dangerous play, folks.
And that indeed is the end of the third quarter. So we're going to take a quick break. We've got 12 more minutes of football to play. Our score here from Edmond Stadium, Mountlake Terrace 21, Lynnwood 6.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And we are back here at windy, rainy Edmonds Stadium, heading into the fourth quarter of play. Mountlake Terrace 21, Lynnwood 6. And it's getting very interesting out there. Just saw a bunch of fans here in front of us sitting in the first few rows. Finally, a handful of them all at one time just got up and moved back a few rows as the wind again is blowing. And not a lot of cover there if you're sitting in those first few rows, Vince. As,
no, not at all.
That wind is not aiding things at all. Let's see what it does to the football here as Justin Hopkins looking at 3rd and 8. Scrambles, looking downfield, and slips, drops the ball. We talked about the rain. Definitely affected him there.
Wow.
And somehow Hopkins gets a nice bounce. It comes right back to him. It will bring up a 4th and 10. However, he avoids what could have been a disaster for the Hawks and would have given Lynnwood the ball on the 20-yard line.
Well, that, in one play, shows you how things have changed in the last 2 hours here at Edmonds Stadium. We went from a nice, sunny, then a little bit overcast afternoon, and now the rain and the wind is coming directly out of the south and just having its way with the players in this game.
And let's see if this affects the punt here as well. Fortunately for Bates, he's got the wind aiding him, so as long as he can get the snap back there and hold on to it, he should be okay. Gets off a kick that just goes over the head of the punt punt returner and gets a nice Hawks roll. It's still going. Finally stopped at the 17-yard line, a 57-yard punt for a guy who was averaging about 31 yards a punt coming into tonight. Thank you, wind.
Asterisk, wind aided. But, hey, in football, there's no such thing, right?
And that makes that bounce that Hopkins got on that fumble a minute ago that much bigger. Lynnwood would have had the ball on the Terrace 20. Instead, they're on their own 17-yard line here with 11:08 to go in the game.
Right. I've seen goofy things like that. I saw Mark Rippon do a quick kick on a 3rd down with the Cougars had the ball deep in their own end of the field, and the field back then was a little icy and a little snowy, and that ball went about 84 yards before it stopped. I think he might still hold the record at WSU.
It's funny what that weather can do sometimes. Yep. And another handoff. It looks like that was Katzenberger again. And much like many of the other handoffs tonight, Katzenberger just not finding any room to run. And we meant to say this earlier, I've got to give a lot of credit to that line, both offensively and defensively, since it pretty much is one and the same.
Yeah.
You've got guys like Pollinger, Parkins, Caleb Davis, just playing a monstrous game. Brett Potter playing both ways. Drew Clippard on the offensive side of things, getting a lot of push. There's a fumble, as we mentioned it again. 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, 2 minutes into this rain game that we're looking at now, and we've had 2 fumbles already.
It's just going to get worse, too. And, unfortunately for Lynnwood, not only is this going to really hinder the passing game because of the rain, but they're also going right into the teeth of this wind that's coming directly from the south right into their face.
Yeah, 3rd and about 12 right now. Clock just goes under the 10-minute mark left in this ball game. Lynnwood down by 15. Another fumble, and this time I think the Hawks got it. Let's see. That was a fumble on the exchange.
Hawks ball.
Terrace Hawks football. Trying to see who recovered that there. Billy Parkin, number 56, on the recovery. Another one of those players who's been going both ways tonight and just having himself one heck of a ball game. And now he's got a fumble recovery to go along with it. And the Hawks with the ball on the Lynnwood 15.
Well, the Hawks have got to take advantage of this right now and just simply put oh, my goodness, what happened?
That was a quick penalty, wasn't it?
That was a real quick penalty. A substitution problem by the Hawks there. I'm not sure I didn't see what happened there. So
that will push the Hawks back 5 yards.
Yep.
So they will start this possession 1st and 15 on the Lynnwood 20. And this could be a huge, huge offensive possession for the Hawks. currently holding on to a 15-point lead. And the way things are going, if you can get this game up to a 3-possession ball game,
right,
you're sitting pretty. And they're sitting pretty well right now as is, but to get that score up there, to put one more on the board, that would be huge. And this might be it right here. That is again, we're trying to read these numbers. It's tough. Isaiah Green with his first carry of the night coming out of the backfield.
He looked good.
He looked very good and is finally tackled at around the 10-yard line, a gain of 10, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 5.
And that's the misdirection that I was talking about in the last series. Just when Lynnwood thinks it's going to be, Ragsdale right, Ragsdale left, Ragsdale up the middle, you fake that little dive play to Ragsdale, and then Isaiah Green taking advantage of that and running for 10 yards.
Hopkins in shotgun formation. Hands it off to Ragsdale, goes right up the middle. Powers through there and carries a couple guys with him for an extra couple yards. Is finally brought down at the 8-yard line, and that's going to bring up, actually we're going to call that the 9-yard line. 3rd and maybe 4 with 8:49 to go here in the game. And the Hawks looking to put another score on this board. And unfortunately for Lynnwood, one of their players is now down on the turf.
Not real sure what that was about.
That's number 65, Craig Nockey, who was a little bit banged up earlier tonight. So we know that he's playing with a little bit of pain right now, and something kind of hit him there. He just sat on the turf for a minute, and finally the refs held off, let him get off the field, and now they're going to reset everything as the Hawks looking at 3rd and 4. Pitch to Ragsdale. He looks for room. Trips maybe over his own player even there. That was Isaiah Green trying to block in the backfield, and Ragsdale did a nice job just to not lose yardage. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Keeps the clock running at the very least.
Yeah.
And the Hawks now with a 4th and 3 on the 9-yard line are going to bring out the field goal unit.
Yeah. Boy, these are tough conditions to be kicking. There's so many different things that have to happen, and they have to happen with such precise timing. But Mikey Jensen deserves to have a shot here. Let's see what happens.
Jonathan Williams with the hold. Jensen with the kick. It's up. Hits the crossbar and bounces through. Points are good. Nice job by both Jonathan Williams, Drew Clippard on the snap, and Mikey Jensen kicking a 25-yard field goal. And with 7:48 to go here in the ball game, your score, Mountlake Terrace 24, Lynnwood 6. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
If you're hungry before or after the game, visit Sorelli Pizza, located at 44th and 224th in Mountlake Terrace. Enjoy the best pizza in Snohomish County while watching your favorite sports on the 4 50-inch plasma TVs. Dine in or take out. They're open Tuesday through Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Call them at 425-670-8600 or visit them online at SorelliPizza.com.
And we are back at Edmund Stadium, 7:48 to go in this ball game. Mountlake Terrace leading Lynnwood 24-6. One stat that's popping out at me as I look over the game notes here: Chance Ragsdale unofficially 25 carries, 138 yards on the ground, doing one heck of a job. The Hawks overall leading the yardage battle 288 to 204 tonight. And the Hawks kicking off here, once again taken by the up man on the 24-yard line. Lunges forward to the 38, and that was Youngman, the tight end, on the return.
So the Royals, really with their backs to the wall here, have to decide if they're going to play this straight up, or are they going to try to make a go at it here and try to throw the ball. But again, the wind is not quite as much of a factor right now, but the rain hasn't let up.
And unfortunately for the Royals, the wind, what little bit of wind there is, it is blowing against them right now.
Yeah.
It's in their face, so any kind of passing game is going to be tough, and that field goal is that much bigger now as Jensen hits the crossbar and bounces it over to give the Hawks an 18-point lead. Lynnwood needs 3 touchdowns if they're going to come back, and they've only got 7 minutes and 39 seconds to do it. Ball might have been tipped by the aforementioned Mikey Jensen, who kicks a field goal on one play and then tips a pass on the next. Lynnwood looking at 2nd and 10 here on their own 38-yard line.
Yeah, it's These are not easy conditions to be throwing the ball. But then again, you grow up in this weather. You grow up playing in these kinds of conditions, and
you don't have much of a choice, do you?
Yeah, you don't.
Not when you play football September through November, that's for sure. This is what we're used to. We were hoping to maybe get an off night from that, but here come the rains, and it's making things interesting. Pass is tipped once again and caught. Number 24 on the play. Very nice play there. That was David Wynn as the ball went right through Isaiah Green's hands. Looked like he might have a potential interception at first. And unfortunately for the Hawks, unfortunately for the Royals, Wynn catches the ball, 23-yard gain, and Lynnwood has a 1st and 10 on the Hawks 39.
Great adjustment by Wynn there as soon as that ball was tipped to come back and get it.
Cachopo takes the snap out of a shotgun formation, rolls to his right, finally throws the ball, almost intercepted again as the only player that had a chance there was Indy Classie. Bats it down, and we're looking at a 2nd and 10 for the Royals.
Yeah, going back to that previous play, I think Isaiah Green got a little excited because I think if he'd have just stayed on the defensive route that he had established earlier, the ball probably would have gone right to him, but he kind of jumped the route, seeing that the ball was being underthrown a little bit, and over-jumped it and tipped it right to Wynn.
And had the ball go right through his hands, and that's another showing of what this rain can do. In dry conditions, he might have caught that. But then again, in dry conditions, maybe Cachopo's throwing a better pass as well. So definitely makes this game of football a little more interesting. And when you add the weather elements to it, Cachopo drops back. He's getting blitzed, throws a nice screen to Katzenberger, and he's got some room. He's got some sideline, and is finally brought down at the 23-yard line, a gain of 16, and is finally tackled by, guess who? Brett Potter.
Just adding to the stats tonight.
Definitely.
That's amazing, isn't it? And 2.5 hours ago, he's may not even be stepping out onto the field, and now, I don't know, 15 tackles later at least.
And I'm not surprised one bit. He had 10 in the first half. I know, looking at John Clippert's notes a minute ago, he went into this drive without any tackles yet this half, but he certainly wreaked havoc. And again, those are unofficial. I have a feeling by the time this game's said and done, Potter's going to have more than a dozen tackles tonight.
Yeah. So flag was thrown real early here, and in the midst of that, Lynnwood was shuffling guys on and off the field, and now the head referee is having a little discussion here.
So take this time.
Illegal substitution. Yeah.
And that will move the Royals back 5 yards, and they'll be looking at a 1st and 15 at the Terrace 28. So as we mentioned earlier, the Hawks will not be on the air next week. The next 2 games will be away. We're only doing the games this year from Edmonds Stadium. We invite everybody.
The regular season, anyway.
Absolutely. We'll invite everybody to get up to that game, by the way, as another handoff here. And this is a player we have yet to see carry the ball. So I believe that was number 13, Alton Hammond. It, in fact, was. I believe that's Hammond's first carry of the game. I've got Hammond listed as a freshman, by the way.
Yep.
So not a bad 1-2 punch there. You've got Katzenberger, who's a junior, and Hammond, who's a freshman. And we mentioned this earlier. This is a very young Lynnwood team, and a little bit of rebuild mode, but there's certainly some pieces in place there for potential for the next couple of years for them. Cachopo, another junior, rolls out, throws and hits Youngman. He's got some room. He catches it on the 15 and is finally brought down at about the 1-yard line.
Nice design play. Again, calling plays that allow the quarterback to make passes that are doable in these conditions. And good for Youngman to get out there and make a nice grab on that. 1st and goal for the Royals. And
a nice touchdown-saving tackle there by Zach Walgren, number 24, as he dove at Youngman's feet, took his legs out from underneath him.
Lynnwood's going to want a timeout here and make sure that they dial up what they think would be most successful.
Yeah, 1st and goal for Lynnwood. They're down by 18. They're 1 yard away, though, from getting this game a little bit closer with 5:58 to go. We're going to take a quick break here with our score from Edmonds Stadium. Mountlake Terrace 24, Lynnwood 6.
Where will you be after high school? Shoreline Community College offers training for rewarding careers in automotive repair, dental hygiene, early childhood education, biotechnology, and much more. Or you can also earn an associate's degree and be ready to transfer to a 4-year college. To learn more, simply visit shoreline.edu. today. Again, Shoreline Community College. So, Steve, I mentioned earlier that I had a little connection with the Idaho State Husky game tomorrow. Good dear friend of mine from back in my days producing all the WSU football radio. Paul Sorensen, his son plays for Idaho State, Cody. And, wow, that's a lot of rain coming down, isn't it?
It's pouring right now.
The Royals.
Cachopo is going to try to keep it into the end zone. And he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Royals. Justin Cachopo, the quarterback, the junior, 6'1", 175, scores the touchdown, and that cuts the deficit down to 24-12 with 5:54 to go here in the game. And Lynnwood, it appears, will go for 2 here on this play.
Well, yeah, you should. And why not? And it's not in the greatest conditions to be kicking anyway.
Yeah, very, very true. And you can make the argument for either way. If you get this within 11, you're still going to need a 2-point conversion later, or you can get it right now. Might as well go for it first. Cachopo rolls out to his left. He's got a man open. It's Kirkman, and he catches the ball in the end zone. 2 points for Lynnwood. And suddenly we've got ourselves a 24-14 game with 5:54 to go.
A lot more interesting now, isn't it?
And with these weather conditions, we're not sure what's going to come next. So again, 5:54 to go. We're going to take a quick break. Mountlake Terrace 24, Lynnwood 14.
The Sound Live Sports Network is brought to you by Harris Ford Lincoln, celebrating 60 years in business in a newly remodeled facility. Harris Ford Lincoln is the largest volume Ford dealer in Washington State and was voted the best in Western Washington by King 5 Evening Magazine. Harris Ford Lincoln, located at 20006 64th Avenue West in Lynnwood. You can visit them online at harrisford.com.
And we are back here at rain-soaked Edmonds Stadium. A big battle here between two rivals from the Edmonds School District. The Mountlake Terrace Hawks leading the Lynnwood Royals 24-14 with 5:54 to go in the ball game. Steve Willits along with Vince DeMiro here on the Sound Live Sports Network. Lynnwood marching down the field on that last drive, getting the touchdown, converting the 2-point conversion in a game that looked to possibly be over. All of a sudden has a little drama here, folks, as with 5:54 to go, Lynnwood only trailing by 10 points.
A little confusion here on the part of Lynnwood. I don't think there's any confusion at all. It's
I think we're going onside kick here.
And
that's not going to get it done as the ball ends up going backwards. Mountlake Terrace will like this as
oh my.
They might be getting the ball here on their own, on the Lynnwood 39-yard line with a 10-point lead.
I don't know if you're seeing this here, Steve, but we've got a shot of the radar coming up here, and it's not going to get any nicer for the Edmonds Woodway Meadowdale game here.
Just like the Seahawks 49er game last week where they kept showing the radar there.
I don't see any lightning strikes in there, thank goodness, but have you ever seen that happen where an onside kick ends up going backwards?
No.
That's the goofiest thing I've ever seen. Oh, my.
Not the way they diagrammed it, I can guarantee you. And the Hawks with the ball in the Lynnwood 40, they're going to spot it right at the 40. Ragsdale is tackled immediately in the backfield for a loss of 3. We haven't seen that much tonight as Ragsdale currently sitting on 135 yards for the game after that loss, having himself one heck of a ball game as the Hawks looking to get in the win column for the first time this year after losses to Stanwood and Edmonds Woodway in the first 2 weeks. A repeat of last year, if you will, as last year the Hawks started off their season, loss at Stanwood, lost to Edmonds Woodway, win against Lynnwood.
Yep.
And history looks to repeat itself if the Hawks can hold on here with 5:31 to go.
A little deja vu all over again. You know, you mentioned this the last couple of weeks, actually, about how because of the schedule, because we have a North and South division, the Hawks, you know, normally when you go, 0-2, well, first off, neither one of those games, nor for that matter, does this game count against those standings that really matter, which is which are the standings inside of your division. Now, granted, starting next week, let's see, or do they count next week?
Next week's game counts. The week after that does not.
Okay. So we go up to Glacier Peak and then to Everett. I wanted to make sure that I had those in the right order. But, yeah, you want to go up and make a good showing against Glacier Peak, a team that, quite honestly, you pretty much had, beat last year and got away from you. Here go the Hawks again.
Hopkins.
Oh,
and another fumble as he falls on it, is able to recover. Unfortunately, it is an 8-yard loss. A little confusion there. Not sure if that was intended to be pulled back, maybe a read option perhaps, but at any rate, a fumble recovered by the Hawks, and they're looking at a 3rd and 18 with 5:07 to go here.
It's more like 3rd and 20. I think I finally have figured out Lynnwood's strategy on that onside kick.
Figured they were going backwards anyway. They might as well, huh?
Jeez.
Well, at the very least, this keeps the clock running as we're down to 4:53 to go.
Yeah.
This game by no means is over, though, as you're looking at 3rd and 20. Unless you can come up with a huge play, you're going to be giving the ball back to Lynnwood here very shortly, and Lynnwood's only down by 10. Smart move by the Hawks to keep the clock going. Unfortunately, as you mentioned a minute ago, we're heading in the wrong direction. A loss of 2 yards by Ragsdale. It's going to bring up a 4th and 22 with 4:28 to go in this game.
Yeah, that was not the series that the Hawks wanted to dial up here, getting the ball on the Royals 40. 3 plays and a minus 11 yards. That's not what they were hoping for. But at least the ball is now going to be kicked from the 49, again with the wind and the rain behind them.
And 3 plays in which he kept the clock going. Bates catches it, gets it off.
Nice kick.
Very nice kick. It hits at the 20 and bounces. It's going to be fielded at the 14. And Toby Munnis, who left the game earlier with an injury, Toby's back.
He is back with a vengeance.
Makes
Holy
his
smokes.
presence known. Tackling the ball carrier, that was number 21, Hunter Lord. Picks up 6 yards, but he finally goes down at the 19-yard line, which is where Lynnwood will take over possession with 3:56 to go.
Yep. And it's pretty much do or die time here for Lynnwood, I think. If the Hawks can just keep the ball in front of them, make Lynnwood take a lot of time off the clock going down the field, and if they have any kind of success at all, make sure that they do it by eating tons of time up.
And we've got a pass here, incomplete. That was Cachopo looking for Wynn. Wynn had run an out route on the left-hand side of the field. Can't quite make the connection, and we're looking at 2nd and 10 for Lynnwood.
That play, again, a very well-designed play. Get your receivers out there, give Cachopo an opportunity to kind of get everything in front of him, get out of the pocket. But that's a really hard direction to run and throw. Most quarterbacks will tell you they want to throw going the direction that their arm is in.
Cachopo this time going to roll out a little bit to the right, throws a screen pass. That's Katzenberger. He's got a little room, gets forward for a 1st down, and finally goes out of bounds at around the 32-yard line. A gain of 13 and a Lynnwood Royals 1st down.
I think that's the important thing. That Katzenberger realized that at this point, clock is more important than maybe another yard or two there, so he scoots out of bounds. Yeah, he got the 1st down. That would have stopped the clock momentarily, but this definitely stops the clock for the Royals.
So Lynnwood's certainly taking that into account every play now, as they need 10 points, and they have limited time to do so. 3:42 to go in this game. They're at their own 31, trailing 24-14. Cachopo throws complete. Nice play by the Mountlake Terrace Hawks defender. So we're on the opposite side of the field, waiting to see who made that tackle. Chung on the catch. Or I should say Tron on the catch. Toby Munnis with another hit.
Good for him. Royals playing a little hurry up here. That's pretty smart.
6-yard gain, 2nd and 4. Cachopo rolling out to his left. Throws to Youngman. Intercepted. Mikey Jensen, the sophomore, with his first pick at the varsity level. Jensen, who has already kicked 3 PATs and a field goal tonight, now gets a huge interception with 3:09 to go. Hawks already with a 14-24 lead. Now have the ball on the Lynnwood 41-yard line.
Absolutely. Good for him. He's put 6 points up on the board using his right foot. Now he's made a great defensive play. And if the Hawks can just take care of the ball here, that might in fact be the play that seals the deal here for Mountlake Terrace.
We got another play where Ragsdale is the tailback, trying to go behind his lead block from fullback number 54, Brett Potter.
That's weird,
We'll
isn't
be
it?
very curious to ask Coach Umaim about that later and perhaps talk about that in future broadcasts. I like the move. I think Potter's built to be a fullback.
Sure.
We do like having him at guard as well, but he's certainly somebody who you don't want to give a head of steam to as you're trying to make a tackle on a tailback.
I guess the only question I have is why would you put him back there knowing that he's dinged up a little bit? But then again, when you're running the ball, you get to dish out the punishment a little bit more than on the defensive side of things.
Maybe it gives him a little better leverage on that knee if it is in fact sore to kind of get some forward motion going before he takes the first hit. And that is Ragsdale looking for room and finding nothing on the left side. But again, this is serving its purpose right now as the Hawks keeping that clock going. And as I say that, I think we might have gotten a timeout as the clock is stopped.
Yeah, timeout taken by Lynnwood.
So the Hawks 3rd and 10 at the Lynnwood 41. Hawks leading 24-14 with 2:29 to go in the game.
You know, let's keep it here during this timeout because we probably should make a decision here about who we want to talk to after the game. I know that you'd like to talk to Brett Potter. I think that's a good call. Chance Ragsdale certainly having a phenomenal offensive game here this afternoon. But there are a lot of questions I'd like to ask Brett Potter tonight. First off, what was he chewing on, and how did he get up for this game? Because we know that he was dinged up, and then he's been playing on both sides of the ball, which he does anyway. But I'm like, the ball's been in his hands on the offensive side of the ball, and holy smokes. How many tackles do we have, or would you guess here? Probably around 12,
We
13?
still have him down for a 10, but as John Clifford pointed out to me a few minutes ago, there's been a few plays in the second half in which there have been kind of gang tackles.
Sure.
And John goes back and reviews those later. We know he had 10 in the first half. I'm sure he's going to get credited for some of those in the second as well, and we may not know that for another day or so. Ragsdale running around left and getting the first down on a big 3rd and 10 carry. He's finally tackled right around the 26-yard line, picks up 15 yards, but more importantly, stays in bounds and picks up another first down.
Ragsdale, again, just showing you how important it is just to keep your feet moving, keep those legs pumping. And one thing that I've been impressed with him tonight, maybe more so than how I've seen him run in the past, even last year, he's explosive, but when he gets into traffic, it seems like those steps get a little shorter, get a little more powerful, and it looks like he's been able to shake guys off tonight more so than in the past. It's maybe that's something we could ask him about too at some point.
And there he goes. And there it is. Touchdown, Terrace. Chance Ragsdale running off of left tackle. 27-yard touchdown, and that should do it as the Hawks taking a 30-14 lead here with 1:51 to go in the game.
Very, very impressive run. Again, there was a good example of what I just talked about prior to that play. When he got into traffic, the strides shortened up, became more compact and more powerful as guys just tried to arm tackle him. And, folks, that's not going to work. I mean, this is a kid that got lots of acknowledgement in terms of all Wesco votes last year, deservedly so. And he's taken advantage of the fact that he's the number one running back for the Hawks this year.
Jensen puts that one up and misses it. Might have been just a little bit wide to the left, but you know what? It may not matter at this point as the Hawks with a 30-14 lead. And with 1:51 to go, Chance Ragsdale, 31 carries, 176 yards, and 3 touchdowns. One heck of a night for number 3.
Let's go ahead and take a timeout here, and we can come back and we'll finish out this game with the Hawks on top, 30-14 with 1:51 remaining in the game. This is the Sound Live Sports Network.
If you're hungry before or after the game, visit Sorelli Pizza, located at 44th and 224th in Mountlake Terrace. Enjoy the best pizza in Snohomish County while watching your favorite sports on the 4 50-inch plasma TVs. Dine in or take out. They're open Tuesday through Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Call them at 425-670-8600 or visit them online at SorelliPizza.com.
Welcome back to Edmonds Stadium. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Steve Willits, Vince DeMuro, bringing you all the action here as we are down to 1:51 to go in this game. Chance Ragsdale's third touchdown of the game, giving the Hawks a 30-14 lead. And Trun from Lynnwood brings out this kickoff, looking for some room. Not having it is Gabe Brady, number 80, makes the tackle, and Trun is brought down at the 26-yard line.
And he's in some pain, too. I don't know if he hyperextended his knee there or what, but, man, he just went down really quickly. And another question I have, too, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I thought the young man stepped either on the line or in the end zone after he made the catch. And I thought that the ball would have been dead right then under high school rules, but the referee, the head referee, was right there on the play.
Might have been close, and at that point maybe he just decided to let him go with it, not knowing for sure if he was or wasn't over the line. But at any rate, one good thing that we are noticing right now, Trun has gotten up and he is running off the field. He's injured. He's feeling that, but at the same time, he's able to run off on his own, and that's always a good sign.
Yeah, I first said knee. It looked like he's grabbing his sort of that high ankle sprain that's, when I was playing and growing up, I never heard of such a thing. But, boy, it sure seems to be much more common now.
And speaking of games that start to matter, Lynnwood moving into their Wesco 4A South action next week with their first game against Kamiak.
Ouch.
That's a home game, 8 o'clock. Kamiak, another good team this year. Whoa, and that was almost picked off as Annie Klossy hitting the intended receiver.
Yep.
That was Kyle Schenkel, and that ball almost popped up into the air where Toby Munnis was almost able to field it. Does, however, hit the ground, incomplete, and we're looking at 2nd and 10. So if this score does hold up here, and there's only 1:39 to play, this will bring the Mountlake Terrace Hawks up to a 1-win, 2-loss overall record. But as we mentioned earlier, 3 non-conference games thus far, and none of these count in the standings. Tell that to these kids that are playing out here, though. It's Mountlake Terrace and it's Lynnwood. It's rivalry week.
Another fumble on the play. That ball looked like it got a little...
And it's Mountlake Terrace football.
My goodness. Isn't it amazing how weather conditions can really change the whole nature of a football game here? Not that the Hawks weren't already ahead, but boy, the ball has come loose multiple times for the Royals here in the second half.
And to give a nice shout out to James Pollinger, who came up with that one. Pollinger's having himself one heck of a game. And as we mentioned earlier, the entire offensive and defensive lines are just playing out of their minds tonight. 2 units that needed to play well. They struggled a little bit last week. Not tonight. They look like they were on a mission. And really, they get a lot of the credit for what's happened here as the Hawks holding on to a 16-point lead with 1:32 to go. Justin Hopkins takes the snap and puts a knee down. I have a feeling we're going to see the Hawks do that a couple more times and just get the heck out of here with a 30-14 victory. Might be a good thing for both teams, Vince, if this game is out of reach. We mentioned it earlier. There's injuries on both sides, shortage of numbers on both sides. If we already know who's going to win the game, let's get both of these teams out, get them healthy for next week. Mountlake Terrace with a huge game against Glacier Peak next Friday night, and Lynnwood playing Kamiak.
Do we not have a play where we take the ball under center?
Yeah, you think even for the this play here,
this
right?
Play, I would think, because I don't like the fact that there's a snap that's, even though it's only about 1.5 yards. Of course, we've seen the snap from center to quarterback from Lynnwood tonight get a little sideways, too.
Drew Clippard, the center, the sophomore, make sure he gets it right into Hopkins' hands. Takes a knee, and there's now 40 seconds to go here in the game. Clock has stopped. Not sure if Lynnwood has called a timeout or not.
I think they have, yeah.
And disregard everything I said a minute ago. I thought Lynnwood was content just taking letting the knee go and getting out of here as well, but they want to play a little more football. Sure. And we're looking now at a 3rd and about 17 with 40 seconds to go. And Lynnwood, well, let's see what they do here. If on this next play, if they decide to call another timeout and perhaps they want to get the ball back and run a few plays. Stay tuned.
Well, I guess so. I think, do they have one more timeout? I thought maybe they'd already taken 2, but I could be wrong.
I was trying to be diplomatic about it, but you're right. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but
yeah, that was their last timeout, wasn't it? So that's why I'm kind of scratching my head. Like, if you had a couple in the bank there that you could force a punt or force a 4th down, but even then it's, You just don't want to see kids get hurt here, and the conditions are not ripe for for play that isn't going to be a little dicey.
Not at all.
Oh, boy.
And the cheer squad's still going strong. I'm looking at them. They're wearing their windbreakers. Herky's got to be smelling awfully good right about now, the
sure.
Hawks mascot.
Yep.
Hopkins takes another knee, and right there is where you...
That's exactly what we want to avoid, right?
Yeah, no kidding. There's a little bit of pushing, but they immediately stop. Clock is running. It looks this time as though Lynnwood may not take another timeout.
Well, they don't have one.
That's a good point. That's probably why.
Go ahead, take one.
And the scoreboard's showing 20 seconds to go. I'm not sure. As they spot the ball now, they do not need to snap another play here.
Why even line up? I'm a little confused.
And perhaps they do. I don't think they should because the spot. They're just going to stand there and let the clock.
Shaking hands, please.
Clock tick. Yeah, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Mountlake Terrace Hawks have defeated the Lynnwood Royals 30-14 tonight. Hawks getting their first victory of the season, bringing their record to 1 win and 2 losses. Lynnwood falls to 0 wins and 3 losses in what was a very interesting ball game. Interesting from a few different angles. Certainly the weather was one of them.
Well, this is a good win for the Hawks, and as you said earlier, so far things are looking very familiar if you followed the Hawks last year, starting out with losses to Stanwood and Edmonds Woodway and then a win over Lynnwood last year. So that's how things are playing out this year as well. And I just hope everybody's healthy on both sides of the stadium here. We saw several Lynnwood guys go down, Tanner Munnis for the Hawks, and a couple other guys getting dinged up. And we hope to have a player of the game for you here in just a few minutes. I'll tell you what, why don't we take a timeout, Steve, and see if we can't get a player of the game up here in the booth with us. But the final score here tonight from Edmonds Stadium, your Mountlake Terrace Hawks 30 and Lynnwood Royals 14. We'll be back right after this on the Sound Live Sports Network.
The Sound Live Sports Network is brought to you by Harris Ford Lincoln, celebrating 60 years in business in a newly remodeled facility. Harris Ford Lincoln is the largest volume Ford dealer in Washington State and was voted the best in Western Washington by King 5 Evening Magazine. Harris Ford Lincoln, located at 20006 64th Avenue West in Lynnwood. You can visit. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com. The Sound Live Sports Network is brought to you by Harris Ford Lincoln, celebrating 60 years in business in a newly remodeled facility. Harris Ford Lincoln is the largest volume Ford dealer in Washington State and was voted the best in Western Washington by King 5 Evening Magazine. Harris Ford Lincoln, located at 20006 64th Avenue West in Lynnwood. You can visit them online at harrisford.com.
If you're hungry before or after the game, visit Sorelli Pizza, located at 44th and 224th in Mountlake Terrace. Enjoy the best pizza in Snohomish County while watching your favorite sports on the 4 50-inch plasma TVs. Dine in or take out. They're open Tuesday through Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Call them at 425-670-8600 or visit them online at sorellipizza.com.
Today's Player of the Game award is presented by Jersey Mike's Subs in Lynnwood. Located across from Alderwood Mall, Jersey Mike's offers authentic East Coast sub sandwiches made Mike's way using the finest quality ingredients. Jersey Mike's offers affordable catering with free local delivery. Visit our website at jerseymikes.com. Serving quality subs since 1956. Taste and believe. I'm going to turn this over now to Steve and our Player of the Game.
And with us right now, big number 54, Brett Potter. I'm going to have you put these on here real quick. Brett, first of all, great game tonight. Anytime you have 10 tackles in the first half, you're doing something right. But talk about this a little bit from the standpoint of you were were doubtful to maybe even play tonight. To talk about your injury and how you were able to overcome that.
Well, last week my knee was popping in the game. The next morning I woke up and it was really swollen. And I couldn't walk for 2 days. And then it hurt. And then today it just felt better. I came out here and played, didn't hurt at all.
Now, were you hurting at school today? Because I ran into your mom and your stepdad before the game, and they told me even that he may or may not play. It might depend on if they need him, and you didn't waste any time. The very first play from scrimmage, you were out there and you were making tackles.
Yeah, it felt better. I came out here, warmed up, hesitant, and then it felt great.
Now, defensively, you were all over the place. I've got to ask you about offense as well. Two things. Number one, you got your first carry tonight. Was that part of the game plan all along?
I thought they were handing it off to me. Apparently they didn't. They weren't supposed to.
Oh, okay.
He just said run forward and run through the hole.
Run through the hole
really hard. And I took the ball. It wasn't meant to go to me. So handoff was slow, but I got a yard.
And we saw you playing a lot of fullback tonight, too. Is that something that we're going to see a lot more of? Was that kind of part of the plan because of Lynnwood's defense, or what was the...
I have no idea. I didn't know I was going to do that coming into this game.
No kidding. Okay, so that was just a complete...
Coach kind of just threw me in.
On the moment, and you were able to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of a jack of all trades anyway, right? You play linebacker, you play line, you do everything. I mean, it doesn't even phase you, does it?
No. I got a lot faster over the summer, so I can play about anything now.
And how are you feeling about this defense? I know coming into the season, we thought you were going to be out there with Devontae and Jevin and some of those other guys, and a lot of injuries and some other things happening. Have you had to kind of step up and be a vocal leader a little bit too, or are guys kind of gelling right now? What's your take on the defense overall?
I've started to talk more. I'm not normally very social, but I've been more vocal, trying to get them pumped all the time. And our defense did pretty good. Yeah. And
it's working. Hey, 3 straight games now. You've had double-digit tackles. Congratulations on what's been a great season for you so far. And as we mentioned earlier, you guys still have 0 losses in the loss column for Wesco, right?
Yes.
So you're ready to go for Glacier Peak next week?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, again, Brett Potter, our Jersey Mike's Lynnwood player of the game. We appreciate Brett for coming up. Brett Potter, the linebacker, offensive lineman, and fullback. How's that sound?
Great.
Awesome. So, again, Brett Potter, we'll let you go back and enjoy this with your teammates. Congratulations on the big 30-14 victory. And we'll see you next week for Glacier Peak.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again. So, Vince, we're going to wrap up here pretty quickly. I know we've got to get ready for the next game. As we mentioned, that was the Jersey Mike's Lynnwood player of the game. Just to give you a brief rundown on the stats here, closer than you might have thought. Total yards 309 to 290 in favor of Mountlake Terrace. But as we mentioned earlier, the big number, rushing yards, 229 for Terrace, 39 for Lynnwood. That's how you win ball games.
Absolutely, and time of possession, I bet, definitely favors the Hawks. I can't imagine that it wouldn't. We weren't keeping that up here, but it just felt like the Hawks, when they needed to control the ball, they were able to control the ball. They had one little series where they went backwards there after getting that onside kick kind of muffed by Lynnwood, but other than that, they look pretty strong offensively, and I think that's going to bode well going into a very tough territory next week at Glacier Peak.
Absolutely. So we won't be broadcasting that game, but again, we invite folks to head up to Snohomish Stadium and watch that game, or stay at home and watch some games on the Sound Live Sports Network. We've got a couple of great ball games next week here, but first and foremost, in a few minutes, we're going to shift over where Keith Neely and Steve McGrain are going to be broadcasting the Edmonds Woodway Meadowdale game, battle of 2 undefeated teams.
Should be a good one.
Should be a great one.
Good one. Yeah.
So we're going to sign off for now. Once again, the final score here from Edmonds Stadium, Mountlake Terrace 30, Lynnwood 14. Hawks get a victory finally. You've been watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Good night.
Good night.